Go ahead and have a seat. Make yourself comfortable.
Thank you.
Now, help me out here, Doug. You were interested in a memory of,
Mars.
Yeah, Mars.
That a problem?
To be perfectly honest with you, Doug, if outer space is your thing, I think you would be much happier with one of our Saturn cruises. Everybody raves about them.
Now, I'm not interested in Saturn. I said Mars.
Okay. You're the boss. Mars it is. Now, let me see. The basic Mars package will run you 899 credits. Now, that's for 2 full weeks of memories, complete in every detail. If you want a longer trip, that'll cost you a little more because it's a deeper implant.
What's in the 2-week package?
Well, first of all, Doug, let me tell you, when you go recall, you get nothing but first-class memories. Private cabin on the shuttle, deluxe suite at the Hilton, plus all the major sites, Mount Pyramid, the Grand Canals, and of course, Venusville.
Yeah, but how real does it seem?
As real as any memory in your head.
Come on, don't bullshit me.
No, I'm telling you, Doug, your brain will not know the difference. And that's guaranteed, or your money back.
What about the guy you lobotomized? Did he get a refund?
You're talking ancient history. Nowadays, traveling with recall is safer than getting on a rocket. Check out those statistics. Besides, a real holiday is a pain in the butt. You got lost luggage, lousy weather, crooked taxi drivers. When you travel with recall, everything is perfect.
What is real? How do you define real? If you're talking about what you can feel, what you can smell, what you can taste and see, then real is simply electrical signals interpreted by your brain.
Have you ever been in an institution? Cells.
Cells.
Do they keep you in a cell? Cells.
Cells.
When you're not performing your duties, do they keep you in a little box? Cells.
This causes it. This causes it. This causes it. Information overload. All the electronics around you poisoning the airwaves.
You are listening to the High Tech Low Life podcast, a cyberpunk media retrospective. High Tech Low Life contains language and themes not suitable for all audiences, as well as spoilers for the content being covered. Listener discretion is advised.
Welcome back to the High Tech Low Life program with your hosts, Eric and Josh. I'm Eric.
I am Josh.
This is my NPR intro.
Oh, well, we can do NPR voice if you'd like. Takes dropping, I don't know, half an octave and speaking a little slower.
Breathing really closely to the microphone.
Vocal fry.
We're going to talk about a movie that is the least NPR coded of any movie we've covered so far.
Yeah, well, I don't know. I think some of the like Cyborg, but this is the least NPR coded of any of the movies we've had any reason to take seriously.
Yeah, I'd scroll back and find the text you sent me about it, describing it, but I think it's a little too far back. But it was basically just off the jump, guns, explosion, tits, death. This movie just goes hard for 2 hours straight.
Yeah, it is a lot of movie. Like it's arguably the most movie.
Yeah, I really loved it, just as I did when I was 12 years old.
I think it has a lot going for it. I don't think it's the artistic achievement that RoboCop was, though.
We'll see. We'll talk it out. We're too early for that.
Well, yeah, we'll run down.
That's a good question. Comparing those two is a good thought exercise that I'll have bouncing around in the back of my skull as I talk about shit that makes me hate living every day more and more. So,
oh yeah, like what? The Democrats caving on the budget?
Yeah, that really made me hate living. But actually, and that's worth talking about. But what I wanted to talk about and really focus on is Mahmoud Khalil.
Yeah, that's no good.
Because that feels like the most dystopian thing happening right now. And it's horrifying, right?
It's not fucking good. Especially when taken in line with, I read the New York Times had a big interview with Chuck Schumer this morning.
Hmm. Oh,
And
yeah.
he didn't say anything that I can think of directly about Khalil, but he did specifically mention that he thought it was probably a pretty good thing that Columbia got $400 million of funding yanked because they're being anti-Semitic,
Yeah.
which is directly related to this because Khalil is a Columbia, was involved with the protests at City.
Yeah. For those unaware, lucky.
We talked about it a tiny bit last week because I think it had just broken like the morning we recorded.
Did it? I feel like we missed it because I would have wanted to highlight it more. But for those unaware, Mahmoud Khalil is an immigrant of Palestinian descent, although I don't believe he's from Palestine directly, who has been leading a lot of protests on,
and who is a permanent resident of the United States.
Green card holder, not student visa. There is a big difference between a green card and a student visa. It's easy to get a student visa revoked.
Citizen.
Yeah, married to a citizen who is about to give birth to their United States citizen child.
Mm-hmm.
And he got black bagged and whisked out of state for no crimes that have been charged at this point.
Fuck crime, baby.
It doesn't look like they're gonna, because they don't have any. He hasn't committed any crimes. He's only spoke. All he's done is say things.
Yeah, we are going back to that old war on terror mindset.
Yeah, it is.
It doesn't matter if we can charge you with a crime if we get you to a black site.
Yeah, and the black site is in Louisiana, apparently.
Yeah. Oh, that was one nice thing. I saw, I think it was Friday, that the company that owns the prison up in Leavenworth, after numerous public protests, had decided not to bid on becoming an internment camp.
Oh, good for Leavenworth.
Yeah.
Unproblematic prison, Leavenworth, Kansas.
Yeah.
So here's the deal. For you people out there in our listening audience who might not agree with our politics, but just can't get enough of our hard-hitting movie reviews.
Sure.
Those of you who might have been on Twitter and think free speech is important and worth fighting for, now's the time. This is where the rubber meets the road. Like, this is political speech and a person being arrested and ripped from his family and most likely deported for just speaking things that the people in power don't want. This is actual First Amendment shit, not just the right to say slurs on Twitter. That is not free speech. This actually is. Are you going to stand up for this guy?
And related, they're also apparently working on getting any protesting of Tesla to be declared hate speech.
Yeah.
And illegal and domestic terrorism.
Yeah,
So
I
that's
actually
cool.
want to talk about that a lot more in the future when we maybe have more time. I think going forward, the focus, like obviously Trump is the BBEG, but I feel like Musk is the mini boss, and I feel like he is so much more vulnerable than Trump, and that's where we need to be focusing our efforts for now. That's my own personal opinion, worth maybe talking about more at length later. But
yeah.
And it would be so fun. It'd be a morale boost, if nothing else. Just watching Tesla stock drop just brings me so much joy.
Yes. Sorry. I was silent there because there were a bunch of things I wanted to say, but did not want you to have to go to the trouble of beeping them out. So, yes, watching Tesla stock drop has been fucking hilarious.
It has. But yes, back to Mahmoud Khalil. This is the first part of that poem. The first they came for the socialists, and I didn't do anything because I was a socialist. They're coming. We got to do something. I don't know what that is. There are protests happening everywhere this weekend. Nothing that I know of here. It's
Not that I saw, but I don't know.
one thing I dislike about the protests that are happening right now is how unfocused they're just like, let's just protest the president that was elected. Like,
Yeah.
I think focusing it on something like the Tesla protests, which do seem to be having more of an impact, or something like this, which is an obvious violation of a human being's rights, might have more traction because you can actually say, look, this is wrong, change this.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. But there is also when you're doing something like that, it is harder to get people out for, and B, sort of have any huge amount of effectiveness, like say here, where we have literally no connection, like physically, or like if we were down in Louisiana or in New York where he was black bagged.
Yeah.
There's not a sort of direct and obvious thing you can do. Like, I mean, we can protest at the state capitol, but what the fuck did the state of Kansas have to do with that?
I just wish that they could be more organized, more focused, and I don't know. Also, I thought I'd just share good-ish news. Ooh. I don't know, something that happened to me. I think I mentioned it to you, but it's so small and so stupid. But I everywhere you hear everybody saying, "What do we do?" Well, we can't vote for at least 2 years, so you gotta help your neighbors. You gotta meet people. So in that spirit, I went to my local neighborhood association meeting, which isn't a neighborhood association as you might think of it, where they're like yelling at me for having a wrong color front door. It's literally just people that, organize volunteers to help the elderly and pick up trash and whatnot. And I did leave feeling better. I got some volunteer opportunities. I met some neighbors who care a lot about this little working class neighborhood I live in. And it did actually make me feel better. So shit, maybe there's something to it.
Maybe. Helping people helps you.
Yeah, I would encourage it. I know it's hard because I don't want to leave my house pretty much ever because it's rough out there. But
hard out there for a pimp.
Yeah, or even if you're not a pimp, even if you're an aspiring pimp, it's hard out there. So I don't know. Try that. That's what everybody says. It made me feel better for a night.
Yeah, that's good. And are you going to go back again in the future?
Yeah, they do them bi-monthly. I'm going to go back. I also am going to sign up. I've got a garage full of tools. I'm going to help some old people fix some stuff around their houses.
Ah, nice.
Yeah, that'll stave off the existential dread a little bit, won't it?
Yeah, I would hope so.
All right. That was positive. We're doing good work.
Yeah. Hey, that's fucking great. I wish I had something to follow that up with.
Sometimes after we record, I sit and think about these first like 10 minutes where we talk about this stuff, and I'm like whether people enjoy it or not, or get catharsis from it or not, are we doing anything useful talking about this stuff? Like it was more fun in the beginning when the dystopia was theoretical, and now that it's happening, it's a bummer, and I don't know that we're doing anything other than dragging our listeners and friends down with us.
Yeah,
so I don't know if we need to refocus it or what.
That's honestly a good question, because this bit did start 5 years ago. Well, slightly more than 5 years ago, because I've
just
been
before the big thing.
I've been given a barrage of, hey, it's been 5 years since the COVID pandemic started.
Yeah,
news articles. I don't know. Like, on the one hand, it feels irresponsible to not address some of this stuff, given both our personalities and the content of the show. On the other hand, is it helpful?
I want people to know where we stand on these things. I think it's important, especially at the beginning of the show, so people know, like, hey, if you don't fuck with this, then go away and don't bother leaving a comment on YouTube. But if you do, you're going to find camaraderie here. You're going to find solidarity from us, and that's cool. But also, like, it's just fucking depressing.
Okay, so here's an interesting question. Maybe we should leave it off for a few weeks to see if we can draw people in.
And
know?
then, like, psych.
Yeah, and then be like, oh yeah, by the way, we're full fucking commies. um, everything you've been enjoying, it's all Marxist analysis.
We'd have to do some big ones like The Matrix or something and be like,
Yeah.
oh, no.
But then on the other hand, I don't know. I feel like it's good to get this stuff out there because I think it was just last week on the show. You said something along the lines of, and by the way, if you, yeah, we're going to talk about like, trans people losing rights because we want people to know where we stand.
Yeah,
like,
and we want the trans people to know we stand with them.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. If you're a listener, feel free to let us know. Does this bum you out? Should we cool it or try to force in more good news? I don't know. It seems like cope, but because there's not a lot of good news. But sometimes it feels good to wallow with like-minded people. But I don't know if that's good either. I don't know. We've already killed 20 minutes. We've got to do recommendos fast because this movie is not going to be a short one. So,
okay, I got a couple of very quick ones. All right, Dark Winds started on AMC/AMC Plus. It's the third season. It is a cop show based on the Tony Hillerman, Leaphorn and Chi novels. It follows a police chief on the Navajo Reservation down in Arizona, starring Zahn McClarnon, who you absolutely recognize if you have seen anything with a native actor in it for the past 15 years. He plays Big, the tribal police guy on Reservation Dogs. Mm-hmm. It's a very good show set in I think it's very late 70s. And it's him being really good. It's executive produced, and the reason it made a bunch of news this week is because two of the executive producers appeared on the show in little cameo roles, Robert Redford and George R.R. Martin.
Yeah, those are names I've heard of.
And Robert Redford, and they're playing chess in a lockup. And Robert Redford said, "Come on, George, the whole world is waiting for you." And that's the second I blew my brains out.
Come on, that's funny.
But anyway, it's a good show. New season starting. If you want to, I don't know, they're good. They're good police procedural novels, and it's the past couple of years have been hot for natives in TV.
It's DEI, Josh.
It is DEI. Yeah. So I'm glad to see it, and I'm happy the show's back.
I miss Res Dogs.
Yeah, me too. God.
All right, what do you got next?
Next, I started new on Apple TV is a program called Dope Thief. Have you seen anything about this?
Nope.
Okay, it's based on a crime novel by a guy named Dennis Tafoya, I think. Something Tafoya. It stars Brian Tyree Henry, who you might remember as Paperboy from Atlanta.
I have not seen Atlanta. It's been on my list forever.
Oh, yeah.
The name's familiar, though.
Yeah, he was also the main character's best friend who worked TSA in Get Out.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, he's a very fun, charismatic actor. Oh, he was in The Eternals, the best Marvel movie.
Sure.
I just thought I'd say that since that is a sentence that's literally never been said by a human.
That's true. You're the first.
Anyway, very charismatic, fun actor. He and Wagner Moura, who was in Civil War. Did you see that this year?
No. You talked about it, and that was all I needed.
Yeah, fair. Wagner Moura, another actor. They are some low-level criminals in Philadelphia who basically do an Omar, except they pretend they're DEA while they're robbing drug dealers.
Oh, fun.
First two episodes dropped. Yeah. First two episodes dropped on Apple TV. They end up getting a bit outside of their comfort zone and end up in the middle of a bunch of shit. And first two episodes are good. And also the pilot was directed by Ridley Scott. So, he's a guy who comes up on this show.
Yeah, he is.
Anyway, recommendo for that.
Anyway, I was gonna say not as much as Philip K. Dick, which I realized recently we have covered a lot of his shit.
And still, we are nearly not at the end. And I was going to specifically bring up, we need a policy that not everything Philip K. Dick wrote counts as cyberpunk.
True. Also, we need some like dick alert or something when we announce.
Beep, 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 beep,
Dick
beep.
alert.
Dick alert.
Okay, I got a quick recommendo. It's been recommended before, and it was nominated for an Oscar, so nobody needs my fucking voice chiming in. But I saw Nosferatu, and it was it was creepy and dark and fun. I still prefer Bram Stoker's Dracula, but this one was good too.
Did you like
That's
that
all.
dong?
Oh yeah, that creepy Nosferatu dong. Nosferatu.
Yeah, dong feratu.
Dong
Nosferatu.
feratu.
Dong. Nose for dong too.
The vibe it conjured as you're watching it, the like oppressive, heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It was good.
Yeah, I thought it was. I thought it was a pretty good movie. And
I see why it's been talked about so much.
yeah, it's definitely got fucking vibes.
It is long though.
It is.
So, what's his name? Willem Dafoe was awesome in it.
Oh, Willem Dafoe. He saved the back half of that movie.
He did. He was much needed comic relief.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not his purpose, but he brought some levity that the movie.
He brought some life to it.
Yeah,
because I mean, as much as I enjoyed the movie, it was oppressive.
Yeah, him and the doctor saying like just like horrible 1800s doctor shit.
Yeah. Well, obviously, her womb has migrated.
Yeah, that was pretty funny too. Anyway, Nosferatu's good. What were you were about to segue into something?
I was about to segue into, a movie that's not too long.
What's that? Total
Recall, 1 hour, 53 minutes.
Perfect length.
I mean, honestly, it's like there is a sweet spot between 90 minutes and 2 hours. Nearly every movie should be between 90 minutes and 2 hours. There are way too many movies that are well over 2 hours that don't need to be.
I agree. I'm sure there are exceptions out there that we could make.
Absolutely. I can come up with, a bunch of them, but they are really the exceptions.
Yeah. Kind of like podcasts, 90 minutes to 2 hours. That's the sweet spot, right? That's what everybody's agreed upon.
Yeah. Yeah. Checks back through my podcast list. Oh God.
I try, like the old goal was 90 minutes. Now I'm like, just let me edit it, get it under 2 hours. Just let me get it under 2 hours.
Yeah.
Hour 53. Let's hope for it. Let's try. I doubt it. Got a lot to say about Total Recall. This movie, just to show you my bias, I have maybe seen it more than any other movie, and I haven't seen it in 30 years, if that tells you how much I watched it when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
Hundreds of times, possibly, until I hit like the age of 17 and then never watched it again. So
yeah,
I am definitely biased. It was formative to my development.
While I was watching this movie, I had strong, kind of sense memories of, oh man, I remember exactly watching this. Like, I remember the sensation of sitting on Matt's couch and watching it on a, I don't know, 28-inch TV.
Yeah, I sense memory, definitely 100%. Then the words would come to me as they're being said on the screen. They would like just be spilling out of my mouth along with it.
Yeah.
So there's a definite bias here on my end. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's fair. I probably have the exact same thing going into Blade Runner. Yeah. There are just some things that are written into our DNA at this point.
Exactly. And I realized as I was watching it, so many things that I say frequently that I didn't even remember were from this movie.
Yeah. There's a bunch of that.
It would have been a really fun one to do a watch along for, and I don't know why we didn't. Oh, well, I guess I do know why we didn't think about it, because we were supposed to have a guest on this episode, but
yes,
our poor baby Sean is fighting COVID and couldn't make it. So
yeah,
get well soon, buddy.
Okay, so
yeah, let's do it.
This movie came out June 1, 1990, directed by our friend Paul Verhoeven, director of Robert Cop.
Director of Robert Cop, yes.
And this movie starts with a banging fucking score where Jerry Goldsmith is just flat out ripping off Basil Poldoris's RoboCop score.
Yep. Sure, I believe it.
When I was watching the credits, I was like, oh, he got Basil Poldoris back again. So that's oh, no, that says Jerry Goldsmith. Okay. Lots of what sounds like banging metal drums. And the opening credits are so fucking long.
They're very long.
It is something you do not see in movies anymore. Number one, just starting like straight in with credits, Total Recall, starring Schwarzenegger, blah, blah, blah. You don't see that anymore. Anymore in movies, there's nearly always a cold open, or it's just like a title card that says Total Recall, and then we go to the movie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you're right. It felt like it took forever.
Fucking long. Yeah. So we actually start the movie in an exterior, Mars, a canyon, figures in suits looking out at a mountain and holding hands. Turns out they're Arnold Schwarzenegger and Rachel Ticotin, I think her name is.
Oh, interesting. I was going to look her up.
Yeah. And
I've seen her in other things for sure.
Yeah, she has actually been in a lot of stuff in minor parts. I think this was kind of the absolute peak of her fame, unless I missed something going through her IMDb.
Yeah, and this isn't really our introduction to her, so we can talk about her more later.
Yeah. So they're in spacesuits hiking around Mars by a canyon. Whoops! Schwarzenegger trips, falls down the edge of the canyon. His faceplate cracks. And this is the point at which I realized, oh, this is the movie that all of those silly Arnold Schwarzenegger sounds come from.
That's true.
It really is. Like, when people... that is all from this movie.
Right.
It's fucking wild. I did not realize... when I have seen videos of people doing that or like inserting that audio over stuff, I had not realized that all of that was from like two scenes in this movie.
Hey, I don't want to pull you off track, but I was just scrolling through Rachel Ticotin's IMDb, and she was in John from Cincinnati, your favorite show.
Yes, she was. Yeah, she was in John from Cincinnati. And yeah, she's been in tons and tons of shit, but this is, as far as I recall, this just about her only lead. Yeah.
Right. Anyway,
so he's the faceplate cracks, he decompresses, and we get to see our old friend Rob Bottin, who worked on The Thing, and Robert Policeman again. We get to see his work in crazy facial prosthetics and bulging eyes.
I thought this stuff looked familiar.
Yeah, once you recognize it as, yes, this is exactly Rob Bottin's bullshit.
Yeah,
it is unmistakable.
You can definitely. It's like another actor. Just recognize. It's so easy to recognize. And it's so good.
And he does. This movie has some amazing work from him.
I don't know that it's realistic to what decompression would look like. Probably
not hugely.
But it was a huge part of this movie. Like as a kid, these scenes, were like, this is the craziest shit I've ever seen in a movie.
Yeah, it's fucking wild. So he dies from decompression, and then Arnold Schwarzenegger wakes up in a bed from the dream next to Sharon Stone, and she says, "Dreaming about Mars again?" And asks him about, was the girl there, the one you're always dreaming about? And the answer is yes, she was. And then they fuck, and it's pretty tame.
Sort of. She like fights him for a little bit. It's kind of tense for a moment. She's really jealous.
A little bit, yeah. She is acting weirdly jealous about this girl in a dream. But what I meant by pretty tame is compared to a lot of Verhoeven's prior filmography, you do not see, surprisingly, Sharon Stone's breasts at all. I mean, Like this is a weirdly
It's the first.
non-sexual movie.
We're only like 3 minutes in right now, man.
Which is exactly the time that our wonderful, beloved Dutch pervert Paul Verhoeven would throw a shot of dong, or
I'm wondering if, Sharon Stone had no problem with nudity, but you're right. She doesn't get naked.
yeah, it's honestly surprising. This movie is weirdly non-sexual for how, like, kind of, like there is a certain amount of sex content in the movie. Like there are prostitutes, including one with 3 tits.
Yeah.
But there's not really much in the way of sex, or at least sexy sex.
I would say that 1990 Sharon Stone brought all of that and did not need to be naked doing it, at least to my 13-year-old self at the time.
I don't disagree. I mean,
I remembered some visceral memories watching this again, especially a scene coming up here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Involving her.
And then we cut to Schwarzenegger, who plays Doug Quaid in this movie. He's making breakfast, which involves,
Or
I don't know,
does
a
he?
blender. Yeah, that's a good question. He does.
Come on, dude. Tell me you didn't see the parallels. You're watching White Lotus, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Nearly every episode has his son making fucking protein smoothies.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that very first episode, he's introduced in fucking Terminator 1 glasses, for God's sake.
Yeah. I don't. Surely it wasn't a callback, but it felt it made me laugh because he makes so many protein smoothies.
He really does, and he spends so much time selling them to his brother.
Yes, making them and talking about them. And here is Arnold Schwarzenegger making some type of smoothie.
Yeah,
I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be overnight oats or something, but it's basically a smoothie. And he's watching the news, and this is classic Verhoeven watching the news shit.
Mm-hmm.
We hear a news reporter talk about how the president said that space-based weapons are really the only defense against the Southern Bloc because, they naturally have the higher population.
Okay.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, it's not great. I mean, which that's Verhoeven's point.
Yeah.
And we hear about some Terrys on Mars.
Terrys.
They fight. There was a bombing and a big shootout. They're trying to stop the mining of terabinium ore.
Mm-hmm.
And we hear about somebody named Kuatu taking responsibility. And we see some cool handheld footage of cops or troops of some sort just flat out murdering these assumed Terrys in cold blood.
Yep.
And you're like, cool times.
And we're watching this all on their like flat screen TV built into the wall.
Yeah.
Which is pretty
cool.
So
it's obviously science fiction.
A lot of this, I can remember watching this as a kid in the 90s, thinking this future looked pretty neat. Even though now it looks pretty dated and lame. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not, and a lot of it is, pretty close to what we actually have.
Yeah.
Smoothies, flat screens.
Because
remember,
that's our fake
in 1990, every TV had a curved screen.
That's true. Yeah.
So
you could like change it to look like nature. That was like, oh, how cool would it be to just be able to look outside at a nature setting?
Yeah, it would be cool. Schwarzenegger and Sharon Stone have a conversation. Turns out, basically, we're doing some character building. He is obsessed with fucking Mars.
Yeah,
this motherfucker wants to move to Mars hard.
This motherfucker has 1990 Sharon Stone wanting to bang at every passable moment, and all he can talk about is going to fucking Mars.
What if we went to Mars?
He is Elon Musk.
Yeah. Except he's actually got a feasible way to get to Mars.
Yeah, Elon Musk will never get to Mars.
And he will kill less people once he gets to Mars.
And he will
on
kill
his
a
way
lot
to
of people.
Mars. Yeah, he kills a lot.
But it'll be less.
Yeah, it will still be less. So we see some more news, and we meet our ultimate villain. I don't remember his first name, Cohagen.
Yeah,
Who is
good old
the
Ronnie Cox?
Yeah, who is the president? I don't remember what his title is.
They say it specifically. He's like the leader of the colony. Yeah, maybe he's president actually.
Yeah, he's the boss of the colony on Mars. And
What
he
a
says,
great fucking bad guy, dude.
"Oh, the just worst piece of shit." like from instant one, you want to murder him.
Yeah.
It's perfect. It's almost exactly like villain in RoboCop, where you're like, yeah, I should strangle this guy.
Yeah.
So
it's weird that we ended up electing that guy. Basically, that guy who Ronnie Cox plays in all these movies is the guy we chose to be president twice. That's weird.
God, except for the fact that Ronnie Cox is so much more fucking charismatic and smarter.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah, we picked the worst, like the Dollar General version.
Yeah,
all Ronnie Cox's 80s characters.
Yeah.
The fuck is wrong?
So he says on the news that all these protests are just a few extremists. They're lazy mutants who think they own the place. And there's a reporter who starts speculating about, we heard there were some alien artifacts found. And he's like, oh, don't worry about it. No alien artifacts, whatever. So this sets up the back half of the movie. And we're like 5 minutes in. Well, okay, 8 minutes if you count the titles.
Yeah.
So a little more conversation. Apparently, Sharon Stone thinks that Schwarzenegger is just unhappy because they've just moved to this new town. And of course, he's going to be, unhappy for a little while until he finds his groove here. But Doug Quaid feels like he wants to do more, to be somebody. And he feels like Mars is the place to do it.
Yeah. He's built for better things.
He is. Also, I don't know if this is something I found on, I think it was IMDb's trivia section. This is like El Paso, Texas, according to the area codes.
Oh, really?
I think it was El Paso, something like that. So he's going to go to work. And we get the sort of exterior of their apartment, which is also the interior of a Mexico City metro station.
In real life?
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, most of this movie was shot in Mexico City because they have all that cool-ass brutalist architecture.
Yeah.
And it looks like the fucking future.
Well, I did want to point out, if we're talking dystopias, this dystopia has really functional mass transit. Quaid has a blue-collar labor job in which allows him to afford a pretty nice apartment.
Pretty decent fucking apartment, yeah.
Pretty affordable interplanetary travel, and
fast.
Functional self-driving vehicles. Like this is not a dystopia, actually. This is a pretty decent future we're looking at. Just not on Mars.
At least the Earth version, we're looking at an okay setup.
Yeah.
At least what we see.
And we don't see everything, I'm sure.
No. Yeah, so that's what concrete stairwells and shit are. That's the big metro station down in Mexico City where they shot most of the movie. Everybody got sick except for Schwarzenegger, who had previously gotten very sick shooting Predator. So he had all of his food and water shipped down from the United States.
Oh, really?
The entire crew, entire cast and crew other than him got fucking dying sick, including Verhoeven, who was at one point so ill they had an ambulance on set and had him propped up on top of the ambulance with a megaphone.
Jeez, this is just in the water?
Yeah, he got dysentery.
Oh.
Yeah.
It killed a lot of people on the Oregon Trail.
It certainly did, and it's making its way the fuck back.
RFK Jr. has anything to say about it?
There was actually 2 weeks ago in the news, there was a dysentery outbreak in Oregon, now that I think about it.
Ooh, how not ironic.
Yeah, cool times. So we also go through one of the things I remembered most strongly about this movie. We go through this X-ray machine.
Oh, yeah. That was huge. huge visual effects as a youth.
It must have been in the marketing because it is so imprinted on my memory. You see Schwarzenegger walking down a hall, and then there's like this black glass that he goes behind, and you see a CG skeleton of him, walking at a normal pace, and security guards are looking.
Mm-hmm.
There's also a dog and stuff going through it. This sets up a minor set piece later. But I just wanted to note the X-ray machine because that was such a thing.
No, it was especially the scene that happens later. I'm glad they used it twice because it was at the time incredibly cool.
Yeah, it really was. And then Doug Quaid gets on the metro to go to work, and he sees a commercial for a thing called Recall, where you can buy a vacation that isn't actually a vacation. They just implant it in your head. Like
Sounds
say
like a
you
dream.
spent like 2 weeks on Mars, except you didn't have to, go through all that space flight and looking, I don't know, doing whatever. And he is intrigued.
Yeah. What
So
I
then he
never,
goes to-
and I
Go
guess it's more comes up later. What I never understood, even though I've watched this a million times, is do you live the experience in your head first and then have the memory, or do you just wake up and the memory's there? And I guess that's kind of a pivotal part of the question of that the movie leaves you with.
I think it's more the second, in that you remember it, you don't like kind of live through it.
Okay.
But I don't know. We can get into that as we get further
Yeah.
into the film. So he goes to work doing Chekhov's jackhammering. Apparently, the initial drafts of the script, he was a office worker, and Schwarzenegger said, "No one will believe me that I am just an office worker. We should make me a construction worker or something."
They would totally believe that I was a kindergarten teacher, though.
Different movie, but same year
They
before.
would totally believe that I'm twins with Danny DeVito.
That is the whole joke of the film. Were they? I wonder. Years ago, they were talking about making a third fucking twin or a second twins film called Triplets, where it was going to be Danny DeVito, Schwarzenegger, and Eddie Murphy. And I feel like within the past year or so, I heard that was moving forward.
Great concept. It's a fucking
God,
awesome
it's
concept.
on the one
Especially
hand.
now with them so old.
On the one hand, I hate it to death. On the other hand, like, well, okay, look, man, had they jumped on that in like circa 1993?
Oh, that would have been huge.
Yeah.
Anyway,
So he's talking to his buddy at work, and the guy says, "Oh man, you don't go to that fucking Recall place that they lobotomized, friend of a friend."
heard he got
Whatever.
lobotomized.
Yeah. So Schwarzenegger seems to take all this in, and then we cut immediately to him going into the Recall offices.
He is
Where-
not. He is completely obsessed with at least
Yeah,
getting his
he-
brain on Mars.
Yeah, he is clearly a lunatic. I mean, he is really acting like a crazy person in this first 15 minutes of the movie. So he goes to the Recall office. We see a very cool little bit of the secretary changing her nail color with a stylus.
Yeah, very sweet.
And she does that a couple of more times throughout the scenes she's in. And it's just a really fun little detail. Like, yeah, we're in the future. I don't see why that wouldn't happen.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool little future details that Verhoeven likes to throw in for us.
Yeah. So he then meets a very cool sleazy salesman.
Love him, and he's familiar. I've got him. Ray Baker. What else is he in?
Yeah, I don't remember off the top of my head.
Maybe I'm just
So-
remembering him from this.
So the salesman's trying to discourage him from going to Mars. He's like, yeah, we got these juke packages and stuff. If you really want to go to space, Mars is kind of played out. But, Quaid is dedicated. So it's going to be 899 credits. I love the fact that they use credits.
Yeah, of course.
That's my favorite entirely nondescript science fiction currency.
Yeah. Ray Baker was in Chud. In case you
All right. Okay. Maybe Rob Bottin did that too? I don't know. I don't know. It has to be 40 years since I saw Chud.
Yeah, I don't know. I ever actually saw the whole thing.
Yeah. So yeah, it's going to cost 899 credits for 2 weeks on Mars. But we got this cool new shit that you can try. What's the thing that's the same about every vacation you take? I don't know. What? You're the same. No matter where you go, there you are. And that's from Buckaroo Banzai, I think.
Probably.
So basically he's saying you can also get for your vacation, we get these implants, and like you have you've got a cool movie. It's not just you're going to see the sights. You can either do, say, Secret Agent, bing, 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 and then you'll be able to get the girl, save the world,
Save the cheerleader.
Kill the cheerleader. I don't remember.
That's not how it
Eat
went.
somebody's brain. Well, yeah. Anyway, and he's like, "Oh, this seems like a wonderful idea," and goes for it. So then we meet the tech. It's an older lady who looks kind of like Sarah Jessica. What's her name?
Sarah Jessica Parker?
No,
Sally Jesse Raphael.
Sally Jesse Raphael.
I don't know how I pulled that out of my ass, but I guess it's true.
It is exactly who I was thinking of. And then this younger guy, and they're asking some questions like, "Hey, you want us to integrate some alien stuff? Look at these cool 2-headed alien monsters and shit on this monitor." And here, if you answer these questions as honestly as possible, and you'll have a great time. And he basically flips through a video catalog and ends up selecting the woman we saw in his dream. Like exactly her.
And you also, at this point, when he's like inserting the thing into when the tech is inserting whatever he's about to experience, he goes, blue sky on Mars. That's a new one.
This is a new one.
And puts it in, and not telling you how the movie ends, but
yeah,
it ain't a red sky.
So he picks Rachel Ticketin out of this catalog and like drifts off. And then we
sleazy and demure, which seems all right.
The
kind of woman only a male fantasy novelist could dream.
Yes. So then we have an extremely fun cut from Schwarzenegger dozing off on this weird tech couch thing to back to the sleazy salesman selling some lady, I don't know, some kind of fucking vacation. And then the secretary is pounding on his window and his video phone is screaming at him.
I like it because it likes, I don't know, it goes from this calm moment. I mean, from this point forward, the movie is like balls out, and it kind of starts with her slamming on that screen.
Yeah, it's a very fun and clever.
Yeah. Like
the way they did that. It was, okay, suddenly we are in fucking action.
Yeah.
And it turns out there's a problem. Salesman runs out of the fucking lab, and Quaid is screaming about how his cover's blown.
Some good Arnold screaming here.
Oh, no! And like trying to get out of this fucking chair that's tying him down. And he eventually gets injected a bunch by one of the techs. And the lady tech is saying, I don't know, he just fucking started screaming about his cover being blown and Mars. And the salesman's like, use your head, you dumb bitch. He's just acting out the secret agent portion.
The question in this movie is it's like something out of a fucking anime, honestly, and I think
it really is.
It answered the question of why the anime dubs we've been watching, the cursing is so aggressive. It's because that's what movies were like back then.
Yeah, that's true.
The way he says, "Use your head, you dumb bitch!" Like this is his coworker. She's a scientist. She's a fucking doctor, and he's a sleazy salesman calling.
He is a piece of shit car salesman talking to the woman who invented an engine.
And there's more of it later, and it's
fucking
hilarious because we're just not used to it anymore. But I love it.
We really aren't. And she says, "Yeah, he's not acting out the secret agent portion. Look, I haven't fucking implanted it yet, idiot." So they get him, and basically we find out or she speculates he already had a fucking memory block in there somehow. I don't know what is happening. Nobody else could have done this except for the agency.
In fact, and then he slaps the shit out of her when she says it, right?
Yeah. Yeah, the salesman slaps her.
So fucking crazy.
Yeah. And he says, okay, wipe as much as you can of him coming here. We're going to stick him in a cab, wipe all the records and shit, and we're going to pretend this fucking never happened.
It's also worth pointing out, when he came in, Quaid said he wanted to go to Mars, and this guy's like, you sure? I could get you a really cool... It's almost... it's like,
there's a couple of points where, that part was odd, where he's like, no, maybe you want to go to fucking Saturn or Jupiter. And then also the fact that the techs are using a seemingly new, untried version, blue sky and Mars, never heard of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's some weird indicators in this movie that I don't think work terribly well if you think about them too hard.
Yeah, they also could be there to distract, or I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. So anyway, they end up. We cut to Schwarzenegger in a cab, and it is one of the long-term cultural reminders of this movie, Johnny Cab.
You're in a Johnny Cab.
Yeah. Which was modeled on and voiced by the actor Robert Picardo, who he later, I don't know which show it is, he later goes on to be on the Star Trek shows. I don't know if he's like
I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, he's like a hologram doctor or something.
Yeah.
And I don't know, he's mainly on the Star Trek shows that I've never seen any of. But
also, Johnny Cab completes the trifecta of us covering movies about robots who are companions that you fuck.
Yes, exactly. It's been a wild month here. So he wakes up in this cab and gets dropped off at his apartment. And as he's going up the stairs in this big brutalist place that we've seen before, his buddy from work intercepts him and says, "Hey, man, why don't we go get a drink? How did Recall work out?" And he's like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Well, do my father?
Yeah. And then his work buddy and like 5 goons.
Goons that are absolutely familiar to me. I'm sure those goons have been in
Yes.
other movies we've covered.
Yeah. If not movies we've covered, then movies that we both saw on fucking HBO in 1992 a dozen times.
Definitely. I think they've been in like shit we've watched recently.
Oh, very possibly. So they're going to take him to this alley, sort of, and shoot him. But instead, he takes them out, like kicking.
Brutally.
He murders the hell out of them. The action is not great. Like, the action cinematography in this one isn't great.
Yeah, I guess.
And I think it's because, to some extent, Verhoeven is not interested in how the action occurs. He is interested in the result of the action.
Yeah.
Because we see he doesn't seem to give a shit about shooting Arnold Schwarzenegger, kicking somebody. He is interested in the look of that somebody's face caved in and spraying blood all over the place.
Yeah, I can see that. Although I would argue action scenes coming up are more, more interesting than this one. This is just kind of a palate cleanser.
Sure.
Get you ready for the good stuff.
Yeah, okay. He ends up
Plus,
taking
this is Quaid's first fight. Like, this is where we're also like, oh shit, Quaid can fight. Why would a construction worker be able to take on 5 guys like this?
Yes. At the same time, like it doesn't have the vibe of, say, I know this isn't a movie that you were capable of watching, but Born Identity. Um,
I was like, where's he going with this? I'm like, oh, yep, yeah, nailed it.
yeah. Eric gets some motion sickness in handheld cam movies.
Fucking hate him.
Yeah. There are a couple, especially in the first movie, The Bourne Identity, there's a really good scene where Matt Damon, not knowing who he is, because he has amnesia, is basically set up to be, I think he's going to be mugged, or maybe it's secret agents. And it's shot in a really interesting way where Matt Damon clearly, like, the look on his face is, how the fuck did I have the reflex to just, punch that guy in the throat?
Or if you call back to one of our very, very early episodes, I'm blanking on the name. The movie from like 2018 or whatever, where the guy Upgrade.
Upgrade, yes.
That guy does amazing. I didn't know I knew how to fight.
Yeah.
Facial expressions.
Yeah, and I don't know, Schwarzenegger doesn't quite sell that. Actually, that's one of my big notes for this movie is that this is some of the worst acting I've seen Schwarzenegger do.
I don't disagree. I think this could have been a more serious movie with a different lead actor, but I don't think it would have had the cultural impact without Schwarzenegger at the helm.
Yeah, that's certainly true. But I was thinking about back to I don't know, sometime last year I watched Predator, and Schwarzenegger is locked in Predator. It's not a deep character by any means. But in this one, he seems way the fuck out of his depth. And he's doing Jean-Claude Van Damme or Seagal quality acting. Just, he doesn't seem to be working in the scenes. And I don't know where the problem is.
Well, the best acting he does is when he's playing his... God, why am I blanking on the name? Hauser, yeah. That's what I thought it was, but I was second guessing. When he's playing Hauser, I don't know, I don't think Schwarzenegger knows how to play confused amnesiac that well.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
He's really good at playing confident badass, but confused everyman might be difficult for him.
Yeah, that's probably it. So he kills the guys brutally, fucking snapping their necks with his feet and shit.
Mm-hmm. A lot of neck snapping.
Shooting the hell out of them. And nut punching. This movie is chock full of fucking fists to the nuts.
And knives.
For reasons. Yes, also that too. I am not sure, but Paul Verhoeven was very into what if we punch him in the balls?
Yeah.
I just want to see khakis get caved in. So he kills the guys, goes to his apartment, where he finds his wife, who is doing a hologram tennis trainer. And he runs around. He's like, I don't know what's happening. And shuts off lights and says that he went to recall, and then his buddy from work tried to kill him, and he killed a bunch of people, and he doesn't know what happened. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And he's like, I have blood on my hands, and holds them up to the camera. So he goes to the bathroom to clean up, and she goes to make a phone call and calls, in his first appearance, Michael Ironside.
Oh, we love him. But before we talk about how much we love Michael Ironsides, I have to talk about how
her outfit,
I don't know. It made me a 12-year-old boy again when I saw her practicing tennis in that room, which is why I think Sharon Stone does not need to take her clothes off to bring the sexuality to a movie. Or maybe it's just me personally. I don't know. It works for me.
It is a very much 1988 to 1990 look, just the outfit. And it's the platonic ideal of sexy woman working out.
Yeah, she's got a ponytail going on with her bleach blonde curly hair. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's the type of thing where it's not that specific thing isn't one of my things, but I can totally see that burned itself into the brains of 9 million 10-year-olds. And is inescapable.
It was nice to bring it back, because now I can picture it as if I was was that little 12, 13-year-old watching it in my dad's sad living room.
Yeah. Good times. Well, I mean, bad times, but good times.
Good times, but bad times, but good times.
Yeah.
After it was over, probably flipped on MTV and watched, I don't know. Fucking
Talk Dirty to Me.
Yeah, something like that.
Some Skid Row fucking nonsense.
I don't know. It was 1990. It was probably 91 when I was watching it heavily, actually, because we had it on VHS. So, yeah, it wasn't quite Nirvana, but that's the same room that I watched Smells Like Teen Spirit video on for the first time on the night it debuted. And I swear I saw it 5 times play over the course of that night because we stayed up all night watching MTV.
Yeah, as you did.
They really played the shit out of that video, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they ran that one hard.
Yeah. Anyway, that has nothing to do with Total Recall, but it does have to do with 1991.
It does.
Whenever the fuck it was.
So Schwarzenegger cleans up in the bathroom, dries his hands, and exits, and then he gets shot at.
By a mysterious figure.
With a flashlight and a gun. So it turns out he captures this figure in a fucking chokehold, turns on the light, and it turns out it's Sharon Stone. Holy shit. She kung fu's him in the nuts, tries to stab him.
Another nut shot.
Yeah, this movie is heavy on the nut shots. And she basically admits, yeah, we've only been married fucking 6 weeks. I never saw you before then. Everything else is a memory implant. You're not Douglas Quaid. I don't know. You're just a fucking job I had. I'm just supposed to monitor you, and I don't know. You work for the agency. What the fuck?
She spills just enough to get him interested without giving him anything too pertinent. Mainly, she's stalling because Richter's on the way.
Yeah, and we also, she says something here, Schwarzenegger says something like, no, but what about our marriage and the honeymoon and whatever? And she says, no, you don't remember those things. Those are just implants. It's exactly like Companion.
Oh, shit. And Johnny Mnemonic. Wait, no, there was no implants in Johnny Mnemonic.
No. He just, Quaid remembers that he remembers things and has like a vague outline. And that's it.
Yeah, it's a common sci-fi thing.
Yeah.
She also offers to give him one more quickie for old time's sake.
Yeah, she says, you were the best job I ever had. And she's over his shoulder watching the video monitor of Richter, who is Michael Ironsides, and his gang coming up.
I actually really liked this short scene, and I do think it's some of the better acting that Schwarzenegger did in it, because they are kind of, I don't know how to describe it, but she's just like, hey, this is just a job. This is what's happening. And they're kind of sitting on stools talking, and they're almost talking like a married couple that
it's
realizes they're not married anymore.
Yeah, it's very much okay, look, man. I mean, I know this shit isn't working out right.
Yeah.
Here's what I got.
They were just trying to kill each other 2 seconds ago, and now they're just kind of laughing.
Yeah, she had just
times.
nailed him in the nuts.
I don't know. It's a good scene. Any scene with her in that leotard is a good scene. What am I talking about?
Yeah. And we're going to see the end of that. She offers to let him tie her up. Oh, I didn't know you were so kinky. Yeah. Schwarzenegger is kind of the worst in this movie.
I love it.
Now that I think about it.
I love him.
Dude, I have really enjoyed Schwarzenegger in a bunch of his roles, but man, he is kind of the weak link here. Like, had he been on, Predator frequency for this, it would have worked so much better.
Listen, I have no evidence to back this up, but I disagree 100%.
Okay. That's fair.
While saying you're probably 100% correct. I just can't agree.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I get it. So kind of the same way that I can't find flaws in Blade Runner.
Yeah, I cannot imagine anybody else. Like, in my brain, I know it would probably be a better movie if it wasn't starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I can't picture it, and I don't want to.
Honestly, the thing is, I can't think it wouldn't have done any better with anybody else. I just really think Schwarzenegger he would have done better a year before or a year after or something.
Maybe he's going through some shit.
I don't know. Let's see. I think this was...
Maybe he was thinking about becoming governor.
This was shortly after he got married to Maria Shriver. It's about the time that his son was born.
Oh, shit.
Maybe it's that.
Actually, he's younger than that, right? Maybe not.
I think that's about right. I actually looked up, I saw a terrible fucking thing on Wikipedia that listed, it's an article called 1990 in Film, and it just lists like, the biggest movies of the year, blah, blah, blah. Also, the birthdays of people that are in films now that were born in 1990, and it is nauseating.
Yeah, I don't want to hear about that.
Harvey Guillen from Companion was born like the week before this movie came out.
That is bad.
Yeah.
He'd just done Running Man and Red Heat, Twins.
Yeah.
Then apparently he was in a Tales from the Crypt. I don't remember that.
Oh, I do remember that. Yeah.
Anyway, what if Rutger Hauer circa not like Blade Runner Rutger Hauer?
I honestly, this movie would have been great with Rutger Hauer. Again, it's Paul Verhoeven knows how to direct fucking Rutger Hauer to do anything.
True.
Like not just Blade Runner, but Soldier of Orange and Turkish Delight. Yeah, I don't know, man. And I don't want a movie. I don't want this movie without Schwarzenegger because I do feel he lends an air to it.
We definitely don't want it with Colin Farrell, which I'm sure we'll learn about later.
Oh man, I did a slight amount of research into what that movie was, and it's different.
All right, we'll get to it. Definitely.
Apparently, they don't go to Mars.
I'm actually excited to have this one done because that means we can cover that one now, and I've never seen that one, and I've always been curious.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on.
So he notices that she's paying attention to the video monitor on the wall, sees the guys coming up to the room. He punches her the fuck out.
Yeah, a lot of ladies getting punched in this movie.
Pours some breakfast cereal on her and runs away. And
imagine getting jacked by 1990 Arnold Schwarzenegger. That can't feel good.
Yeah. Although this is a smaller Schwarzenegger than a lot of his big action movies.
Is it? Man, he looks huge when he's using that jackhammer.
Yes, he is still an abnormally large person, but he is nowhere near as big as he was for T2 or like Predator.
Okay.
Yeah. So he runs away, and the bad guys get into the room where we meet Richter, Michael Ironside, and his blonde buddy, whose name I can't remember, with the glasses.
I've got it. Helm, apparently.
Helm. Yes. I don't know if his name is ever said in the movie.
I don't either.
But he is a great sidekick.
They're a great team. Fucking love him so much.
Yeah. And we learn that Sharon Stone is in fact Richter's, I don't know if it's his wife, but his old lady.
Yeah, his old lady. They have a disgusting early 90s open-mouthed kiss right up close in the camera. This movie has a lot of close-ups, by the way, I noticed last night.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So they're going to chase after Schwarzenegger. It turns out they've got a tracking device on him with a cool fucking little handheld tracking thing that Helm runs. Mm-hmm. And we do a chase through the Mexico City metro station again with all the stairwells and escalators and stuff. He runs to the subway and ends up going through the X-ray machine. He grabbed Sharon Stone's gun when he left, and as he's going through the X-ray machine, it pops up like it's a red gun circle.
Very cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool scene, and like all these security guards are like, "What the fuck?" And then he comes barreling through the fucking glass.
Yeah, you can see the skeleton turn towards the camera and then jump through. It's a neat effect that would be it would be a lot more flawless now, but looked really cool at the time.
Apparently, I couldn't find any verification of this. That was supposed to be the X-ray machine thing was supposed to be like some sort of big first in like motion controlled CGI in a major motion picture. But they couldn't get it to work right, so they ended up having to go back to animation for that.
Makes sense.
Although this movie was the first use of CGI to clean up miniatures or something. I don't exactly understand what the I don't know. We'll learn about that when we get to Mars. So he
We get our
barrels through
ass to Mars.
he slow-mo barrels through this fucking glass. He's running away to the subway. A bunch of Richter's goons flank him on this escalator. And we have, I don't know what version of this movie you watched, Eric.
I don't either.
There are two out there. It's kind of the same way that RoboCop. There are two versions where one is like half a minute longer or something.
Okay.
And it's exclusively fucking blood. Like,
Okay, I think I've seen both, but yeah.
Yeah.
I think I got the non-blood version because
Okay.
I remember the guy on the escalator that he uses as a human shield.
Mhm.
I remember him being like just ragdolled beyond recognition, and he was in the version I saw, but I remember it being worse because I watched that many times as a young kid, thinking it was the grossest thing ever.
Erotic.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
There's a lot of eroticism in this movie, and that was not it.
Is there? Jesus.
Some of it's hey, when you're 13 years old, you remember. Doesn't take
that's
much.
true. she's got 1.5 times the normal amount of boobs.
Yeah, therefore it's 1.5 times better.
Yeah. So yeah, he gets flanked on this escalator. One of the goons shoots a guy who's in front of him, and then Schwarzenegger uses this rando guy. It's not a bad guy.
Nope.
He is a commuter. He uses a commuter as a human shield, and this guy gets ragdolled like the guy at the beginning of fucking RoboCop.
Yeah.
Ed 209.
I feel like, I mean, the big guy at RoboCop got it worse because Ed 209, I'm sure, has a larger caliber of bullet. But man, this guy gets it bad.
This guy gets absolutely fucked by like 6 dudes going full auto.
And to be fair, he's dead before Arnold Schwarzenegger he doesn't use him as a human shield first, but
yeah, he gets shot, by one of the bad guys first, but his corpse is mutilated at the behest of Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Quaid gets over it quick and pragmatically uses him as a shield.
Yes, it is very ugly.
It's one of the scenes I remember most from my childhood. I must have rewinded it a lot or something. Fucking psychopath.
Yeah, it is absolutely fucking crazy. And then he kills most of the goons. And only only Richter and Helm are left, and he jumps into a fucking subway car.
They also like one of the dead guys. They specifically show Richter stepping on his dead goon's chest as he's running away. That's how heartless this fucking scumbag is.
Yeah, Richter doesn't even begin to give a shit.
God,
and he's like
Richter.
Spraying full auto at a moving subway train.
Oh yeah, he does not care. He will kill everybody.
Yeah, it's a good time. And then so Quaid gets away on a subway train, and we have Michael Ironside and the blonde guy going back to their car to continue the pursuit.
Richter might be the inception of my love of henchmen.
Scumbag henchmen. Yeah.
It might be. I don't, because he's such a piece of shit.
He really is, and fucking Helm is beautiful as a third banana henchman.
Fantastic henchman. Banana henchman. Henchman to the henchman.
Yeah, this is the scene where where Helm goes, man, I wouldn't want a guy like that porking my old lady. And Richter says, what, you saying she liked it?
Nah, man.
And he says, nah, I'm sure she hated every minute of it. It is very funny.
Yeah, it's fantastic. He has some great line delivery later, too. Helm is a really good third banana character.
Yeah, he's very fun. And they get a call from Cohagen on the car, on video phone. And Cohagen very specifically says he wants Quaid alive, and you are not to fucking kill him. And then Richter does the old, oh wait, I'm going through a tunnel. I can't.
I love it. Richter doesn't care what his boss wants. He just wants to fucking kill Quaid because he porked his wife.
Yeah.
Or he hated Hauser. He probably wants Hauser's position was his main goal.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. Although that's not like actually explained.
Yeah.
So Schwarzenegger just checks into a random fucking hotel room. He gets a video phone call from a guy who looks like he is in a bad syndicated TV show, like say Airwolf, circa 1984.
Yeah.
Um,
The everyman 80s tough guy.
he really just looks like a syndicated TV
Yeah.
guy. I didn't look this guy up. I bet he was in 9,000 things and they were all bullshit.
Probably, yeah.
So this guy says, hey, you told me to find you if you ever disappeared. You've got a tracker in your head, so wet a towel and wear it as a fucking turban. Here's this. We work together at the agency. I'm going to drop the suitcase off here by this payphone that you can see, and you come pick it up, and that's it. So Schwarzenegger wraps a towel around his head, leading to many fun times of getting out of a shower.
Oh yeah,
when we
always
were
got to do
roommates.
the Doug Quaid.
Yeah, I don't know how many times. I don't know how many times that you or I saw the other one with a turban around their head when we both had long hair and yelled Total Recall bullshit about it.
Yeah.
But
You and I have yelled a lot of Total Recall bullshit at each other over the years.
that is absolutely true. So Schwarzenegger grabs this metal suitcase, steals a fucking Johnny Cab.
Wait. There's an old lady trying to grab the suitcase
Yes.
as he does, and he
Yeah.
gets in a fight with this old lady who he steals it from her, and as he's running away, she just screams out, "Fuck you, you asshole!"
Yeah.
This old lady just it's more of that delicious 90s cursing. It's hilarious.
And I honestly wonder, like, some of this stuff, I wonder, is this just because this and RoboCop are Paul Verhoeven movies? A guy who is, like, fluent in English, but not a native speaker?
Could be.
Like,
Could be.
is it just that?
I mean, I've worked with people who English is not their first language, and specifically people who are just
Yeah.
kind of getting the hang of English. Like, when a Spanish speaker like really starts to figure English out and
they go
speak pretty
heavy on the
they go
colloquialisms.
heavily on the cursing too.
Mm-hmm.
Some cursing you wish they'd not learned, but
Yeah.
they kind of lean into it because I mean you know how to make basic sentences,
Yeah.
but it's coloring the sentences is what you're after now.
Yeah, you want to. It's an easy to learn way to add emphasis.
Right, and maybe that's what Verhoeven's doing. I don't know. Or maybe he just knows it's funny, and it's comic relief in a really violent movie.
Yeah, I don't know. So yeah, he ends up stealing a Johnny Cab because just as he's gotten the suitcase, Richter and Helm show up, and there's a little bit of a shootout. They're still going fucking full auto in crowds.
Yeah, he can't get the Johnny Cab to listen to him. Very relatable problem in our time. So he rips it out of its thing and then drives it himself.
Drives it the fuck away to a concrete factory. Here's some of Johnny Cab's, famous lines. Ends up... Go ahead.
It just... As a kid, I didn't even think twice about it. But when he gets out of the Johnny Cab without paying his fare, he says, "So sue me."
So
the Johnny
sue me.
Cab goes crazy and tries to run him down. And I didn't know if they were like, this is their way to stop people from skipping fares. You're going to get run down, or if the car just malfunctioned or what. But
because
it runs
he
into a
yanked
wall
the
and
robot
explodes.
out of it. Yeah,
It fucking explodes in a fireball for no goddamn reason. And it was hilarious for me and my wife watching it.
Except that there is a reason. That provides that
Exactly.
explosion is what cues Richter and Helm into where he is.
There's a plot reason.
Yeah. So he's in this concrete factory, which is like, I don't know, up to his knees in rats.
Yeah, a lot of rats. Which is after having just watched Nosferatu, rat heavy weekend for me.
rat heavy week for you. Yeah. So he opens up the suitcase, dumps all the shit out of it. There's money, a bunch of IDs, this weird looking gun thing. watch that shoots a hologram, a yellow caftan.
Verhoeven did such a good job with that hologram, by the way.
Yeah.
I completely even having seen the movie, I forgot about it when he whips it out in the end again. He does a good job of showing you this cool thing, and then it disappears until they need it later.
And then they keep using it at the end of the movie, like over and over again in clever, like audience tricking ways. It's really impressive.
Yeah, it was a good use of a little tech toy.
Yeah. And then there's also a video player. And it turns out that he is on the video player talking to himself.
Yeah, in an enormous brick suitcase, what would be an iPad or an iPhone today.
Yeah. So his other self, which I don't remember if we find out if his name's Hauser at this point or later, but Hauser, him from the past, explains, I work for Mars Intel. I met the woman and decided I was on the wrong team. And goes through this whole thing about how to extract the bug, the tracking device that's in Quaid's skull. And we see another fucking cool ass Rob Bottin bit.
Fantastic.
Where he jams this fucking weird gun looking thing up his nose, and it appears like he pulls a golf ball out of his face.
When you hear the crunch, you're there.
You're there.
You never want to hear a crunch when you're shoving things up your nose, guys.
No, it's not a good. Having heard crunches involving my nose before,
yeah,
it generally leads to bad feelings and blacked eyes.
Yeah.
So he ends up feeding the tracker to a rat, just as Richter and Helm and some more goons show up because they saw a thing about the Johnny Cab explosion. He smashes the video thing, grabs a suitcase, avoids the goons, and gets his ass to Mars, which is what Hauser told him to do.
Yep. They have a fun, well, it's not fun. They end up blasting a rat for no reason.
Yeah.
But
that is a fun little sequence.
Shooting, following the tracker and shooting at nothing. It gives Quaid time to get away.
It's like in Aliens, where they've got the motion tracker thing, except Helm is like, it's over there. And then they do a whole shitload of shooting and nothing's there. It's very fun. So, cut to fucking Mars. Like, we see a spaceship landing on Mars. I don't know how long it takes to get to Mars. It's actually a very long time.
Yeah. We don't see it. All we know is that there's a company offering it because we saw an ad for it on a subway.
I'm going to just, let you in on the secret about this movie. Some of the physics and space and planet stuff isn't the most accurate stuff I've ever seen.
Biology, probably throw that in there.
Yeah, some biology. That's sketchy.
Yeah.
So we get to Mars. The spaceship is kind of cool looking. We see a bunch of neat miniatures, like this fucking colony on Mars. It's cool shit.
It's badass.
Yeah. So we got an immigration desk. We see this kind of big woman going through it, and we also see Richter and Helm get off of apparently the same shuttle. And they're meeting with a security guard and see some Quato lives graffiti.
Yeah, I like that. That really world builds well.
Yeah. And we hear some announcements about how, warning, do not touch exterior, don't touch exterior glass or doors unnecessarily. Vacuum outside. You're all going to fucking die.
No smoking, limited air.
Yeah. And this woman is going through the immigration desk, and her name is Phyllis, based on her ID, and she's wearing this yellow caftan, which we definitely didn't see fall out of the suitcase earlier. Her expected length of stay is
2 weeks.
2 weeks. And then she gets an unexpected question about, do you have any fruits or vegetables? 2 weeks.
This is the thing that you and I have said to each other, maybe more than any other sentence ever.
Honestly, it's way the fuck up there. We might have said this to
more
each
than each
other
other's
more
names.
than hello.
Yeah, definitely.
um, and it is such an incredible scene. Like, it is the coolest special effect.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And it's great because Richter's like walking away talking to this, I don't know, this military guy who we get introduced to, who's kind of cool too, but a minor character. And then like Richter's keeps looking back like something weird's happening.
What the fuck? This lady is freaking out.
And then, yeah, the full freak out happens and her fucking head splits open. And it's Arnold's head.
God damn it. It is just such a cool... Like, I would be happy to see this in any 2025 movie like this. She's just clutching her head and like this fucking cylinder pops out of the side and then it splits down the center. It is like, if you haven't seen it, look it up on fucking YouTube or something.
Yeah, definitely this scene, because it doesn't... Well, what am I worried about spoilers? But
yeah,
it's a great scene by itself.
Yeah, it's such a cool fucking sequence because it's just this woman freaking out, and then suddenly her head splits open, and Arnold Schwarzenegger is inside.
Yeah,
and then he throws her head at some of the security guards who have come to figure out what's going on with the crazy woman and her splitting open head, and the head says, "Get ready for a surprise," and explodes. It's a great time.
Carried a lot of explosives wrapped around his head and an interstellar journey. Not interstellar, but interplanetary journey. Ballsy.
And he's wearing a caftan while he's doing it.
Yeah.
Our non-binary king. Queen?
There's Regent.
Regent, sure. Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Then the fucking glass blows out, like decompression's happening. Arnold gets away. People are like flying. We establish the danger.
This is Chekhov's dome.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so where am I in my notes? Okay, yeah. And there's gunfire, and Schwarzenegger escapes onto a fucking train where he hears some more news. Classic Verhoeven news shit. About how Cohagen raised the price of air again.
Mm-hmm.
We see a bunch of cool miniatures out the window, including the pyramid mine, which is where the guy next to Schwarzenegger says he used to work prior to them finding a bunch of alien shit in it and shutting down the mine.
Familiar to me too.
He has been in 9,000 things.
Okay.
His name is Mickey something.
Yeah, super familiar, long-haired, bearded, kind of biker-looking dude.
Yeah, he has been in tons and tons of stuff that we saw all through the 90s and 2000s. And so Arnie gets to the Hilton Hotel where he had been instructed by the
Mickey
Hauser
Jones.
video.
Sorry, I just found him.
Mickey Jones, yeah, sure. And he checks into the hotel, gets a note, or finds out that he has a safety deposit box that he left there last time, and finds a note in it with the name of a sex club called, I think it's The Last Resort.
Yeah, that's it.
And says, ask for Melina on it in his own handwriting. And then we cut to a meeting with Cohagen and Richter. And Cohagen says, no, I know you want to kill him, but don't fucking kill him because we're going to use him to find Kuato and kill him.
Mm-hmm.
And Richter's pissed off about this.
Richter doesn't care about the big plan. He's got one goal, and that is to kill Quaid. Well, to kill Hauser.
To kill the guy who fucked his wife.
Forked his wife.
And made her like it.
Imagine, though, they're co-workers in this quasi-government agency. One has obviously got the boss's favor. He gets this special assignment, and part of that special assignment is banging your girlfriend.
Fucking the other guys. Yeah.
I can see why Richter's so mad.
Yeah, it's not great.
Especially if he looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger in 1990.
Yeah. So yeah, then
Ironsides is the fucking best, though, right?
He's real solid. I mean, the guy is very reliable in a bunch of absolute fucking trash.
Yeah, truly.
Apparently, he was on the short list for being RoboCop.
Oh, nice. We'll see him again too.
I do not think would have worked very well.
Probably not.
Because he's simply not as unearthly handsome as Peter Weller is.
He's not a leading man. He's a
He's a
supporting-
born and bred fucking character actor.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah.
And we love him.
So Quaid's going to go to this Last Resort Club. He hooks up with this cab driver named Benny, who is very cool.
I really liked outside the Hilton. You all have all the cab drivers. It reminded me of like when you land in Cancun or something. It's just like that. Just people swarming you. Hey, let me give you a ride. Or Vegas. Vegas does it too. It's good times.
Yeah. We meet this cab driver, Benny. He's very cool. He has 5 kids to feed.
I got 5 kids to feed.
Suddenly, a Terry bomb goes off. And
then he takes it in stride. He's like, "Welcome to Mars."
Yeah. They get in the cab. Schwarzenegger's like, "Oh, what do the rebels want?" "Oh, the usual. More money, more freedom, more air."
That's another line I've said a million times when anybody asks me what I want.
I think that was also a sample in some song. It might have been like Atari Teenage Riot or something like that.
It's a great line and delivered perfectly.
Yeah, some electronic song from like late 90s, early 2000s. Because as soon as he said that, there was suddenly a beat in my head. Kind of like the Angela Bassett thing from Strange Days.
Yeah.
So then we meet Chekhov's tunnel boring machine.
Yep.
On our way to Venusville, which is the red light district on Mars. And we meet a bunch of mutants. Turns out that all psychics are mutants. Not all mutants are psychics.
Yeah. And that's due to faulty domes when the colony first set up.
Yeah, cheap domes, not a lot of air, etc. Solar
how they get
radiation.
Psychic, don't worry about it, dude.
Don't worry about it. Look, man, this is based on mid-century science fiction. It was just assumed like
psychic shit in
psychic
space.
powers.
It's out there. Even scientists know it.
Like, as soon as we figure out lasers, we will also get psychic powers. I don't know why. That's just what they assumed.
And I still believe it. I'm holding out hope.
It's a real weird thing if you really examine it. It's one of those things where, as soon as we're able to get to other planets, obviously we're going to have eugenics programs and we're going to have psychics. Sure.
Thanks, early 20th century sci-fi writers. Leaving a great legacy. Anyway, I'm looking forward to my psychic powers and my mutations.
Yeah. You're going to be a cool orc.
Yeah.
So we get to the last resort. We are into Clurb. We got muties with 3 tits.
We got wonderful muties. We got Dean Norris coming back. I think his 3rd time on this show already.
3rd time. This is his first time not as SWAT officer.
Yes, that's right. He was a SWAT officer in Gremlins 2. Fuck.
And Terminator 2.
And he was on The Lawnmower Man. He was not a SWAT officer. He was a...
oh, fuck, you're right. Yes.
Like executive.
So this is his 4th time.
Well, we haven't covered Terminator 2
yet,
we
bro. haven't. God damn it. I don't know why I always think that. Maybe because I've seen Terminator 2 9,000 times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So he, as instructed on the pad, Quaid asked the bartender for Melina. And it turns out that Melina is Rachel Tickerton, the girl he's been dreaming about the whole fucking movie. Like, since the first scene.
God.
Oh, yeah, and also Dean Norris is a horrible mutant with a bunch of Rob Bottin face makeup.
Yeah, he looks
and,
awesome.
One eye, and he's great.
It's giving Nia Numb vibes.
Yeah, sure. I get that. Yeah.
He's actually...
he's got like some flaps.
Since the beginning, he was like my favorite mutant, honestly, because he's just there for the rebellion, man. He's there to help.
He's kind of the most
heroic.
Spotlighted. Yeah.
I also like Thumbelina, which is the name of the dwarf mutant.
I feel like it is racist that is her name.
I do too.
But yes, that is her name in the script.
She unfortunately just passed away in 2018.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Well, a lot of people in this movie have passed away.
Yeah,
but it is 30 years old.
Yeah, 30 years ago. So, Melina takes him to her room where apparently she does prostitute stuff, or at least that's what's implied. And she slaps him and yells about how he abandoned her. And he says, I don't know who you are. I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not me. And he explains, like, yeah, they wiped my memory or something. I don't know who you are. And she yells some more and kicks him the fuck out.
We've talked a little about the actress who plays Melina, and
yeah,
I think as far as her look goes, she's like dead on for what I imagine like an 80s Razor Girl cyberpunk type character to look like. So I think the casting was absolutely perfect for her.
In my mind, she is a direct descendant of Vasquez from Aliens.
Yeah.
Like she
never seen it, but I heard good things.
Yeah. Also the kind of the female lead in Predator.
Yeah.
Like for some reason in the mid to late 80s, we were like, well, obviously Latina chicks are going to be slaughtering people. Why wouldn't they?
I like everything about her costuming. It's 80s, but it's also it's very cyberpunk, I feel like.
Yeah, she would have been decent casting for she wouldn't have been bad casting for Molly if they had made
a Neuromancer back then. I would have bought it completely.
Oh, speaking of which, fucking Peter Sarsgaard. There's a casting announcement. Peter Sarsgaard is going to be in the Neuromancer show.
Did they announce who?
Not specifically. My guess would be Ashpool.
Yeah, that would be my guess too.
Because he's way too fucking old to be Riviera.
Yeah, although they pretty much cast all the main people now.
Yeah, we need Riviera, and that's about it.
Yeah,
and the Finn, obviously. You know,
maybe he could be the Finn. He could be the Finn.
I could maybe see that.
He could be the Finn.
He's a little handsome for the Finn, but I don't know. Get some Robotine prosthetics. Shit.
Yeah, fucking A. Anyway, we'll talk more about that when it gets a little more real.
Yeah, I meant to mention that at the top of the show. I totally forgot.
I've actually avoided bringing it up because I don't want to jinx it.
Yeah, fair. Okay.
Tempted to edit this out.
Okay, seems reasonable. So she kicks his ass out, and she and he are being watched by this guy named George, who's definitely not going to be important. Who definitely doesn't have a little brother attached to him.
Like I like the actor who plays George too. He's been in a lot.
Yeah, something Roy, I think is his last name.
Yeah, he looks like George Brett.
A little bit.
You can see it, right?
I wonder how often he shit his pants.
Definitely not as many times as George Brett.
At least once, twice a year. So
just Google it. It's a Kansas City legend. Maybe you haven't heard of it if you're not a baseball or Casey fan, but Google the George Brett pants shitting story.
Yeah. So Schwarzenegger goes back to the hotel. He's watching a news story about how martial law has been declared. And there's a knock on the door. And the guy at the door is the dude who was in the Recall commercial at the very beginning of the fucking movie.
OMG.
He's such an odd looking guy.
Yeah. Also kind of neon numbish.
A little bit, yeah. And he goes on to explain that Quaid, none of this is real. You are sitting in a chair at Recall. You are having a psychotic break. I am the emergency exit, basically. Do what I say, and we can maybe pull you out of this. Otherwise, you are going to be lobotomized. And, oh yeah, if you kill me, it doesn't matter. And here, just to convince you, we have brought your wife. Here comes Sharon Stone. She comes through the door.
Looking amazing.
Yeah.
Also, he offers Quaid a red pill.
Yes, he does momentarily. Yeah.
I just thought that was interesting. That's 10 years before.
I wrote it down as well. That didn't occur to me the first time I watched through it, but the second time I was like, yeah, that pill is very distinctively red. Huh.
It's like red pills become such a meme in our modern culture, which was obviously bastardization of the red pill from the Matrix, but nobody talks about it as using it to become woke.
Yes.
Which is what they're offering here, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah.
The question I have, and that everybody has, is this true? Because everything he says is going to happen after Quaid shoots him, does actually come to pass.
Yeah, I've got the quote here.
Okay, let's do it.
So, Quaid, All right, say you're telling the truth and this is all a dream. I could pull this trigger and it won't matter. He has his gun up to Dr. Edgemar's head. It won't make the slightest difference to me, Doug, but the consequences to you will be devastating. In your mind, I'll be dead, and with no one to guide you out, you'll be stuck here in permanent psychosis. The walls of reality will come crashing down around you. One minute you're the savior of the rebel cause, next thing you know, you'll be Cohagen's bosom buddy. You'll even have fantasies about alien civilizations, as you requested. But in the end, back on Earth, you'll be lobotomized. So get a grip on yourself, Doug, and put down that gun!
Yeah, it's a really great scene. The way he says, you'll be lobotomized.
Yeah.
Everything he said does come true, but also that he has inside information if he's working for Cohagen.
Everything he says is exactly true. Like, there's, it's, I don't know, maybe Cohagen's got some pet psychics around?
While he's delivering that information, a single bead of sweat, reminiscent of the browser history sketch from Key and Peele.
Yeah,
which is another great Key and Peele sketch.
And don't worry, we're gonna get back to Terry's in a few minutes.
Yeah, sweat trickles down his face, and that is all Quaid needs to start blasting. And to be fair, there's no other reason he would be sweating if this is a dream.
I mean, yeah, I guess so. I don't know. We don't know what the climate controls are set to in this.
Yeah, but it's a dream.
Yeah.
Or what the climate controls are set to in the dream room.
Yeah. So, Quaid blows his fucking brains out, and immediately the walls come crashing down with goons behind them.
Honestly, like, I love, because this could be a sign of his brain crashing. Like, it could go either way.
Yeah,
you never know what's actually happening.
The thing that makes it most work is that, okay, so the walls are going to come crashing down. Quaid blows his brains out, and immediately walls start caving in.
Yeah.
Even if that didn't happen, like in 10 minutes, 15 minutes of movie time, more walls come crashing in.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even if they didn't immediately do it, but it feels like Verhoeven's hanging a fucking hat on it.
I also really loved Sharon Stone's delivery of "Now you've done it." She does a great heel turn for her.
Yeah, she goes heavy. She goes fucking hard on that. So, Quaid is momentarily captured by this like 50 fucking goons and Sharon Stone, but is rescued by Melina, who hops out of an elevator. She fights Sharon Stone.
She does that twice. Interesting. The elevator thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, she has a sexy lady fight with Sharon Stone in the way that the best things of the late 80s and early 90s have.
Yeah, Sharon Stone's rocking that pantsuit. Perfect fighting attire.
And the way it works out is Sharon Stone's about to kill Melina, and Quaid blows her brains out and says, "Consider that a divorce."
The divorce that barely gets the line out.
Yeah, it's fucking terrible. And
all you can think while this is happening is, poor Richter. This is going to kill him. He loved her so much.
He did. Yeah.
The true victim of this movie.
They run away. They get rescued and shoved into a cab by Benny. Richter and Helm.
You might remember Benny has 5 kids to feed.
He does have 5 kids to feed. He keeps bringing that up. It's weird.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like it's his only character note.
That and some of the best line deliveries in the movie.
Yeah. Richter finds out that
I'm going to squash you, Quaid. I'm sorry.
That's pretty good. It's a good bit of business. That's right after fucking Chekhov's jackhammering.
Anyway, go ahead.
So, Richter and Helm are in hot pursuit. We have a car chase through Mars. It is very funny how every vehicle, except for the coring machines in this movie, are just fucking beetle frames with nonsense bodywork on them.
They also all look like Cybertrucks.
Yeah. So we got a car crash. They're good
probably
guys
less likely to catch on fire.
Yeah, that's certainly true. Car chase. We avoid another Chekhov's boring machine, barely. The good guys crash and run into the Last Resort Club.
Oh shit, now they're after me. Benny joins them for some reason. Yeah. He could just run off into the crowd. Nobody would ever notice him, but he joins them.
Yeah, he does. And they get helped by Dean Norris to escape through a fucking secret passage.
Yeah. Dean Norris is giving everything to this role.
He is, and like I cannot imagine. I have never seen him talk about this at all. I cannot imagine this would have been a fun shoot.
No,
Like he has to have been just fucking. He has to
Miserable.
have been in a fucking makeup chair for like 7 hours a day for 5 minutes of shooting, dependent on what Arnie feels like on
Yeah.
any given day.
plus dysentery.
Yeah, dysentery. Yeah, so
So if he's not shitting, someone near him is shitting.
yeah. So they escape down a hidden passage behind a table. And then Richter and Helm run in, and they're like, these people are fucking hiding them. And then there is a generalized slaughter of the mutants.
But the mutants fight back. They ain't taking this shit.
The mutants do fight back. Michael Ironside shoots the three-tit lady.
Yeah, she's the first to die. R.I.P. Too good for this world.
Yeah, Thumbelina fucking jams a Bowie knife in Helm's like guts.
And then picks up a fucking machine gun. She is
Yeah,
a
and then
badass.
leaps onto the bar and picks up a machine gun and starts laying fucking waste.
Yeah, you as a kid, I like actually would shout out, "Yay!"
Mm-hmm.
Should not have been watching this at my age.
Yeah, probably not. So then we cut to Cohagen making another phone call and says, stop fucking fighting these people. Pull out. Sector G is going to get sealed off. So they seal off Sector G, Venusville, and it's not going to get any fucking fresh air for a while. So Quaid, Melina, and Benny head through these tombs full of the early workers of the colony. They're just in these tunnels with burial chambers off of them.
You know,
And
real quick, is there a Total Recall TTRPG? Because this fucking setting has everything. It's got
not
like
that I'm aware of, but it seems
it's
like
got
it
an uprising.
could
It's
be
got
done.
evil corporate overlords. It's got tombs and ruins.
Yeah.
Like it's really like set up for a game system to.
Honestly, until you just said that, that is honestly not far off of the one of the later books in the Richard Morgan series. I don't remember which one it is, but boy, it actually has a lot in common with this. Huh. Okay. Yeah. Anyway, so we're gonna go meet with fucking Quato, and the mutant Terrys are like, "The fuck are you doing here?" to Benny, and Benny's like, "Oh, by the way, I got a mutant hand."
I'm on your side with a creepy fucking mantis hand.
Yeah, he pulls off this robot hand where you had seen he'd been wearing a glove earlier, but didn't think anything of it, and then he has like, yeah, a mantis hand. Sure, it's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
I don't know. He's clearly a mutant. So he's on their side, and we meet with this guy we saw earlier, whose name is George. He's Quato's big brother. If you're unfamiliar with Quato, but on the other hand, you have seen the Basket Case films. It's the same thing.
I've not seen them, but I've seen enough stills to know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's the same dummy.
Yeah, so and honestly, it's another really good piece of work by fucking Rob Bottin.
It's fantastic work, and they do a lot of close-ups on Quato, so you really get a chance to look at this dummy, and it's great. And he says, "Take my hands," and you're like, "Oh, don't take his hands.
Don't do that. That's
Nobody
gross."
wants but you got to.
Yeah, so George has his conjoined twin, who appears to be a toddler still, sticking out of his chest and stomach with a couple of little hands. And this is Quato, his brother, who is very psychic.
God, I never put together that they were brothers. That makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I guess you could read it another way, but that's how I've always...
No, it makes perfect sense. He's like, and he's a mutant, so don't get upset when
Yeah.
you see him. And I'm like, how bad could it? Oh my God, he's coming out of your stomach.
Yeah, he's a part of you. So he says to Quaid, "Take my hands. We're going to go through your memories." And And also Quato says an important line in terms of interpreting this film. He says to Quaid, "Your memories are not who you are. You are what you do. Like, what do you do with yourself as opposed to just what you remember?" I'm not a good guy.
Yeah.
So we see some memories, and it turns out there is a something fucking absolutely crazy in the pyramid mine that Cohagen is scared of. It's all this alien shit. And all these miniatures that they're shooting are fucking badass.
Yeah.
This is just about the last minute you can get away with miniatures like this in a huge Hollywood movie.
It's too bad. Miss them.
Yeah, we used to be a country, man.
We did. We used to build things here.
Like I bet there's actually information on it, but I think this miniature set is on the scale that the miniature set of Blade Runner was, where it's like a 40-foot long room with miniatures that are 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
And it turns out it's some sort of reactor, and it might melt down the whole planet, and it's activated by an alien handprint. And we're like, oh shit. And then the walls start coming down.
Real quick before we move on from this scene, Quato's so great. Just the voice actor who's doing him, like he is so it's scary looking. And
it's the same actor as is playing George.
Oh, is it? He does the voice?
Yeah. Yeah, he's both George and Quato. I looked that up last night because I was like, that is a really neat voice performance. Who is that? Some animation guy? No, it's that dude.
It's just such a great, like, having something so horrific looking, and then like he seems wise beyond his years.
Yeah.
And yeah, you feel bad when what happens to Quato happens to him, even though he is objectively horrifying to look at.
Yeah. Oh, Marshall Bell is the actor's name. Oh, and he was in an episode of Reservation Dogs. Huh.
Interesting.
Yeah. The Quato prosthetic, I guess, dummy. Yeah. I don't know. Whatever you want to call it is fucking incredible workmanship. Like, I don't know. This is the Rob Bottin didn't do a ton of different movies, but it turns out that like every movie he did is something we will cover on this show and is badass.
There's one scene where like, I don't know, something like when Quaid first touches his hands and he like
open your mind.
Quato like jerks a little bit and then like shakes his head like he got a little too much and then he shook it off. Like the fucking puppet looks real. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's absolutely fucking crazy. How good that shit is.
Yeah. Anyway, we can move on from Quato now, but he rules. And,
and
I would follow him into the arms of a corporate strike team.
Like also just the way his eyes look, like, I don't know, they're this weird cloudy starry almost. Yeah. You're like, yeah, that thing's psychic. I know it's just rubber glued to a dude's chest, but that thing feels psychic to me. So, suddenly the walls start falling down, as Verhoeven lampshaded earlier.
Yeah.
And it's more Chekhov scoring machines and a bunch of troops. There's a ton of slaughter. Quaid, Molina, Quato, and Benny run to an airlock to go outside, and then Benny fucking betrays him.
Class traitor.
Yeah, he fucking machine guns Quato, and says basically like, "Look, man, I'm gonna be on the winning side.
I've got 4 kids to feed."
Yeah, and Quaid's like, "I thought it was 5.
Number 5. No, number 5 was on last week's episode, Quaid. Get with your HTLL. That's a little meta
Keep
joke.
up. Yeah, good job. Yeah, it turns out Benny doesn't actually have any kids. He was a liar the whole time.
I ain't even married. Now get your fucking hands in the air. I know so many lines from this fucking movie.
Yeah, so they get captured, and then they go back to Cohagen's joint. I don't know. There's kind of a weird cut there. So we're at Cohagen's place, and he lays out the plot. It was all a fucking setup. He plays a video from Hauser to Quaid saying like, "You did the good job, buddy. The only way to make this work was to wipe my memory and make you think that you were against me. And, you did a great job. I'm best buddies with Cohagen, like puts his arm around him in the video.
Thanks for
And
not
it's like,
getting yourself killed.
I'm really excited to be getting my body back. And oh shit, it was all betrayal. Melina is angry again.
Richter walks up and says, "Is he going to remember anything?" The guy goes, "No."
Yes.
Punches him in the face.
Yeah.
And says, "See you at the party."
Yeah, Cohagen's like, "We're going to a party later. I'm going to have a party at my place later. Why don't you bring her?" And as both Quaid and Mel are stuck in the recall machines, and Mel says, "I'll fucking bust his balls if you can, if he is Hauser." And he says, "Princess, we're having you fixed. You'll be respectful, compliant, and appreciative, the way a woman should be."
They're going to trad wife her up.
And it is like, oh my God, it is the most horrible shit said in the absolute perfect way. Just like, yeah, man, this feels like the 1980s. I hate it.
Cohagen's bad. Ronnie Cox is good at being really bad.
He really is.
One thing we left out that I wanted to mention, when Benny shoots Quado, and Quado gives his final message to Quaid saying, "Start the reactor, free Mars."
Oh, yeah, that's in my fucking notes, but I apparently skipped over that line. Yeah.
Free Mars, is a great battle cry. And it's just interesting that all Elon's famous shirt is Occupy Mars, which is the opposite. What a piece of shit that guy is.
Yeah, that guy fucking sucks. Hey, breaking news. Elon's a real piece of shit? Is that what I'm getting? Oh, and
I think it
here's
is.
Here's an interesting note about this movie related to Elon Musk. So, Ronnie Cox plays Cohagen, which is a pretty common South African name. It comes from the Dutch. And that name, it was changed to Cohagen from I don't remember what, when Verhoeven came on, specifically to make it South African.
Because
Mars
is
of
an
apartheid. Yeah. Huh. I'm feeling like maybe... Yeah. I meant to bring that up an hour and a half ago.
Yeah, I was going to say that should have been like underneath this whole discussion. That's crazy. I did not know that. So Verhoeven was specifically calling out apartheid South Africa with his naming of the main bad guy.
Yeah.
And it's the similarities are striking.
Yeah, it really is. Except one of them is smart and pretty cool, and his name is played by Ronnie Cox.
How can you say this isn't up there on RoboCop levels, man? This movie is one of the greats.
Okay. We'll get to it. We're almost there.
Yeah, we got to hustle.
Yeah. And it's at this point where Cohagen, like, this is just putting as fine a point on it as humanly possible. After he's said, you're going to be compliant and appreciative the way a woman should be, Cohagen takes a phone call about how the oxygen is running out in Sector G.
Fuck him.
From a tech, and he just says, fuck him.
Yeah. What a piece of shit.
They're going to die, though, sir. And he says, it'll be good less than the others.
Yeah.
And then takes off. It's hilarious the way he tosses that shit off.
It's so fucking... Yeah, it's like comical the way how evil he is, but look at how our fucking leaders act, man. It's so realistically possible now.
And this is another one of those things, like 2 weeks. I'm not certain. I might have gotten the way I said, fuck him.
Yeah.
From this, and it's been 35 years, so I don't remember. But
there's another line
say it very similarly.
Where it's back at the beginning when Sharon Stone is trying to distract Arnold, and when he looks over his thing over his shoulder and sees that they're coming up the stairs after him, he puts his gun and says, "Clever girl." Isn't that from
Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park as well?
Yes.
I guess that's because I've never seen Jurassic Park, but I've always recognized that line, and I think I always assumed it was coming from this movie.
No, much more popular delivery from Jurassic Park, but yeah.
But I always delivered it
with
the accent, and I never understood why nobody else did.
Oh, yeah. Okay. That makes sense.
Anyway, this movie
So-
has a lot of good quotes in it.
Yeah. We're now 15 minutes from the end.
Go.
So Quaid rips his way out of this fucking
So,
like.
speaking of good quotes, one of my favorites coming up.
Yeah, Quaid rips his way out of this fucking chair, which is just like made of solid steel, which is interesting that he was having trouble with the Velcro from earlier. Don't worry about
Don't
it.
worry about it.
He kills everybody.
Giant spike to the neck looks amazing.
Yeah, it's like jams a fucking like IV stand through another guy's skull.
Yeah.
I mean, it's absolute fucking nonsense. He kisses Melina. They grab a fucking fire axe and they run off. Cohagen at this, and then we have this weird cut where Richter is in Cohagen's office, and Cohagen is like, "Well, I guess you have to kill him now." It's like there's a missing scene there or something.
It is strange, but
Yeah. So then we see a good cut to the mutants dying in Sector G, and they're all just kind of sad and resigned to their fate. They're just running out of energy.
yeah, we didn't mention when they did cut the air off, but the fans slowly running out is a very powerful scene. Like you can see the despair on their faces as the fan blades slow. It's like, oh shit, these guys are fucked.
Apparently, this scene was shot right at the very end, and they had earlier done a version of this scene where everybody in Sector G was like, "Oh my god, we're dying," and then they looked at it in the dailies and were like, "This looks absolutely fucking ridiculous. What if we just have them sad and quiet
resigned.
and resigned to it?" And I think it's like perfect note. I mean,
So much more powerful.
yeah, it works 1,000%. You're like fucking Dean Norris and Thumbelina just kind of slumping over, trying to conserve energy just in case the power comes out. And like the mutant kid that Arnold had given a tip to before.
Yeah.
So, Quaid and Melina head to the reactor. And Quaid explains, because they did get a little bit into the memories before Quaid broke free. So the reactor, Quaid says, makes air by, I don't know, reacting the turbinium to this glacier that it's all sitting on.
We don't even get into the science of it. I'm sure it's fine.
Yeah. So they're going to start the reactor to make air from Mars. And then we have Benny showing up in Chekhov's fucking boring machine.
Yeah, I'm going to squash you, Quaid.
And then he is beaten by Chekhov's jackhammering skills.
Where the fuck are you?
You.
Screw you, Benny.
Screw you. Yeah, it's terrible.
It's lovely. It's the best.
And
scene in
pretty
the movie
perfect.
ever. Yeah.
So, interior of the reactor, which is a bunch of pillars. I don't know why. Don't worry about it. It's Richter and a bunch of fucking goons. Quaid comes out of a fucking tunnel, and like you can see these goons preparing to ambush him, and they do. They blow him the fuck
They
away.
would have clearly shot themselves in this ambush scenario, by the way.
Also true. Don't worry about it. Shut up. But it turns out we have Chekhov's hollow bracelet. Remember, we talked about that earlier.
Yeah, he does a great mocking laugh.
Yeah.
Which
And then
his second great mocking laugh.
we go through a really good scene where he and Melina are trading off the hologram bracelet. Who is the hologram? Who's real? It's all tricks. He like walks into a fucking ambush of a bunch of guys. Like, oh, I bet you thought I would just walk here and that I am not the hologram or something, right? And then he shoots them because he's not the hologram because she's got the bracelet.
I bet you're wondering if it's the real me. It is.
It's the dumbest shit you've ever seen in your life, and it's perfect.
Quaid and Melina work great together. Nobody is like, even Arnold Schwarzenegger. He gets his ass saved by her. He saves her ass. They're a true power duo, kind of like us.
Exactly. And this is exactly the scene where I had the intense sense memory of watching this in 1991 or whatever. Like, man, I remember exactly this moment where he's blowing these guys away in all these pillars.
Yeah.
It's one of those things that we get on the show where I'm suddenly sucked back 35 years. Anyway, so They kill everybody except for Ironsides, obviously. He and Richter and Quaid are having a big fight
On an elevator.
And then Richter is dumped off the elevator, off the edge of the elevator. It's a big open elevator, and says, "I'm going to take you with me, Quaid." And then Schwarzenegger pulls back from the edge because there's an edge coming up, and
Like a floor.
yeah, and Michael Ironsides gets his arms chopped off and falls down, and Schwarzenegger says, "See you at the party, cake. See you at the party, Richter."
Throws the arms off. That's a
Yeah.
line I've said many times to myself whenever there's a party.
It's very stupid.
It's one of my favorite lines in the movie. I can't help
It's
it.
It's also honestly pretty impressive how clearly you can see that Michael Ironside just has an extra large shirt on and his arms crossed under the shirt in the falling section.
R.I.P. to a great one, Richter. Couldn't have done
Yeah.
this movie without you.
So he gets, he takes this elevator up to the top where the reactor is. He approaches the reactor, and it turns out fucking Cohagen's there. Cohagen is going to blow it up because, and he is convinced to the end of this, he keeps saying that, no, the planet's going to fucking melt down if we fire this.
It's not a lie to him. He's certain, which kind of a misstep. I feel like it would have made him more evil.
I agree. On the other hand, I feel that is a realistic character note, especially if we're hanging on to this apartheid South Africa thing, where all those assholes were absolutely certain that they would be slaughtered and possibly eaten with their children if the blacks got the right to vote.
Yeah.
I mean, like, on the one hand, it's maybe Verhoeven is being a little too realistic with that. It would have been better had he said, "Oh, if you start that, I'll lose all my profit."
Or even if he's like, I don't care whether it melts down or not. It's better for me, but it doesn't matter.
So,
you're right though. The parallel is good when you think of it that way.
So Melina shoots Cohagen. Schwarzenegger grabs the explosive, throws it down this tube. From
the elevator. Melina shoots from the elevator. It's kind of her thing.
Yeah.
She shoots people from elevators.
It really is her shit. He throws the explosive. There's some decompression going on. Cohagen shoots out to the surface.
He goes first. If he just could have held on another 30 seconds, he might have made it.
Yeah. And we get some more absolutely fucking beautiful Rob Bottin work. I mean,
love it. The decompression is so good.
It's so it's so obviously very fake, but it is so gross.
But it also it's obviously very fake, but like also your eyes hurt while you're watching it.
It's really an impressive bit of art.
Yeah.
Quaid puts his hand on the reactor. It fires up. They're more cool miniatures. Just fucking, I don't know, all these giant things moving around and like these hot things born in this glacier, whatever. It's absolute fucking nonsense.
Quaid gets sucked off.
Quaid and Melina both get sucked out to the surface. And they are beginning to decompress. More cool Bottin shit. We have like a 4-minute sequence where they are clearly dead, except for the fact that it just keeps cutting between stuff.
Yeah.
So we have the reactor like melting the glaciers. We have the people dying in fucking Sector G. We have Quaid and Melina's faces exploding like fucking balloons. And then we have the mountain shooting steam. Yeah. The mountain is shooting fucking steam and fog. Suddenly all the fucking windows blow in Sector G and the rest of the colony.
That's a great shot. You can see the air rushing to like fill this vacuum and blasting throughout the windows.
We fill this vacuum.
Yeah, we fill that vacuum. As popular war advances, pieces closer. That's from a movie. I know it's from a song too, but
yes.
Doesn't matter.
Shit, I know that movie. Anyway, so it turns out the reactor generator.
In fact, we covered that movie, didn't we?
Did we? Shit, maybe. I don't know.
think we
We're
did.
idiots. I don't know. I'm not going to look. I've got too many pages of notes open already.
I'll find it.
So it turns out that, yes, the reactor does generate an atmosphere. Suddenly, Mars has an atmosphere. So the people in Sector G don't die. Fortunately, the windows on the domes blew in so that they would get the atmosphere there because the atmosphere had been cut off from the rest of the habs. And Mars now has an atmosphere and blue sky. Check us out on Blue Sky, people.
check Mars out on Blue Sky.
And suddenly, Mars has this blue sky. Quaid and Melina are on the edge of this canyon. They hold hands. And Quaid says, I just had a terrible thought. What if this is all a dream? And then the movie ends.
It could be. We don't know.
Yeah.
Apparently, that line is from... Axel explained how he came across this in a newspaper at 7-Eleven while he was in Chicago years ago. We practice selective annihilation of mayors and government officials. For example, we create a vacuum. Then we fill that vacuum as popular war advances. I thought it was in like Escape from L.A. too.
It's about the Shining Path, who were
the Shining
Peruvian,
Path.
Who were Peruvian communists.
That's right. So it wasn't from a movie. It was from the Shining Path, but they appeared in the movie.
Yeah. What was his name? Rico Jones? The villain in Escape from LA, something like that.
And the Chicago Tribune has his entire speech on here. If you're interested, which you're not, because this is not about Escape from LA or The Shining Path. It is about Total Recall and how it's all a dream. Or is it? I don't know.
Or is it? I don't know. And I don't know. I think, okay, so going back to the very beginning of the podcast, comparing this to RoboCop, I feel like Verhoeven had a real point to make with RoboCop.
Sure.
Like that America is too violent. Police are bad. This is, this type of shit is fascism. I don't feel like he cared anywhere near as much about this movie in terms of like the big question for this movie, if there is a question, is, are these all just, is this all a dream? Or is this real? I don't think Verhoeven actually gave enough of a shit about that. And I don't think it's as interesting a question as interesting a point of view as, wow, America is hyper violent and police are bad. Does that make sense?
No, it does. It does.
That's kind of why I don't like, this movie has a lot of shit going for it. It is so much movie.
Yeah.
Like it is just chock-a-block. Wow, you can only see this shit in a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like there's just nothing like it. This is the most movie you can do. This
is definitely the super movied up movie.
Yeah.
But like we were talking about in Dystopia Talk, where like the focus of a protest seems stronger, as does the focus of like satire or political statement media. If you're just saying, corporations are bad, then it's not as powerful as if you're specifically saying the America.
If you're saying the fact that Nestle owns water in most of the developing world, like the concept of water.
That being said, as just a movie that I would go see in the theater, I have to side with Total Recall. Personally, once again, bias is all out in the open. I like it better than RoboCop, but your point is very valid.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. It's not. I think it has more issues than RoboCop, like more things that I can argue with.
Mm-hmm.
But God, it does have so much fun bullshit. The fucking inflating faces and the goddamn 2 weeks head. And I mean, there's shit that I absolutely love in this movie, but I just don't feel like it works. Like, I don't think it's quite as cohesive as RoboCop. And also, it doesn't have Ray Wise and Emil melting. Get the fuck off of me!
If we were like rating all the movies we've watched as far as like social relevance, I would put RoboCop way higher than Total Recall.
Oh yeah,
but it's successful in its own special ways.
It really, I mean, it's here we're gonna talk box office. We're talking box with you. Okay.
A new bumper. Good.
Yeah. So, this movie is actually this is a really weird time in movies. The budget for this movie is listed everywhere as 48 to 80 million dollars.
Wow, that is a spread.
I assume, I was unable to find confirmation, but I assume that means it was initially budgeted at 48 and then overran way over.
Yeah.
And honestly, I feel like, honestly, it was worth every fucking penny they spent. All the effects are amazing. So
Arnold's flown in lunches.
Yeah, Arnold's flown in lunches, which saved their asses.
Yeah.
Because this movie would not have worked if Arnold had been dying of dysentery.
No, definitely not.
So this movie opened the weekend of June 1st, 1990. And this is a very special time. This is the first time that we have done a movie where I have seen every movie in the top 10 probably 10 fucking times at least.
Let's do them.
Like this is, maybe a year into the point where I started seeing every movie that came out. Like I had, I don't know, a good 10, 12 years of that.
Yeah.
So this movie opened at number 1, obviously. $25 million the opening weekend. It made 268 overall. So it was a huge smash.
Yeah, it was.
Number 2, a movie that we will never cover on this podcast. It is the third in a trilogy. We could maybe cover the second if we were feeling especially stupid. Arguably, some of the biggest, there are probably 2 big trilogies of movies from the 1980s. And
I'm trying to guess, but not coming up with anything.
Okay, so one of them would be Indiana Jones, and this one is Back to the Future. Back to the Future 3 came out this weekend, or came out the last weekend.
We should cover 2 for fun.
Yeah. Number 3, new this weekend, Bird on a Wire.
Oh, okay.
Song with a Leonard Cohen song, or a movie with a Leonard Cohen song as the title for no reason.
Mm-hmm.
Starring Mel Gibson and Goldie Hawn. I don't remember what this movie is actually about. I think he's a private detective or something. Anyway, I saw it a bunch on HBO. Number 4, one of the huge hits of the year. I think this is its first fucking week. It launched the giant rom-com star of the 1990s. Ended up making $126,000.
Harry Met Sally?
No. Julia Roberts was her
Pretty Woman?
Wow. Yes. It made 4.7 mil this weekend. Number 5, a movie that is near and dear to both of our hearts. Stars Robin Williams in a role as the most relatable profession.
Hook.
Also, no. That came out Christmas time, I think. I think that was the same year.
You said it's near and dear to both of our hearts, and that's the only Robin Williams movie I can think of.
Cadillac Man.
Okay, yeah.
Robin Williams is a fucking used car salesman, and he's fucking everybody's wife.
Yeah, that's a good movie.
Number 6, a movie I don't know if you've seen, but it lives on in my day-to-day vocabulary. Something from this movie pops up nearly as often as 2 weeks out of my mouth. A movie called Firebirds.
Never even heard of it.
Nicolas Cage plays an Apache helicopter pilot. I can't remember. Maybe Meg Ryan is the female lead. Anyway, the central dramatic attention in this is that he is right-handed but left-eye dominant, so he has trouble shooting things.
Okay. Wow. Okay.
It is
didn't take much to make a movie back in the day, did it?
No, it really didn't. But anyway, at a certain point in this film, he says, "Let's kick this pig."
Oh, that's where that comes from?
That is where that comes from. It's not a good movie to my memory. Haven't seen it in 35 years, but I would be willing to bet it is hot trash.
Yeah.
Number 7, one of the biggest hits of the year. Another one of the biggest hits of the year. Well, it sold a lot of foam rubber and action figures and a cartoon. It's based on an independent comic book.
The Mask? No, that's later than that.
Nope,
I don't
that's
know.
later. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles,
of
the
course.
most successful independent film of all time.
Another one I loved as a kid, even though I
Yeah.
hated that it wasn't like the cartoon. I still watched it a dozen times.
Number 8, one of my absolute favorite movies of all time. Stars Alec Baldwin, James Earl Jones, to stellar skateboard, submarines. It is The Hunt for Red October.
The Run for Head October, yes.
Yes. Number 9, an anthology film, horror. I can't think of any. I know I've seen it a million times. It's got like 4 movies in it. Tales from the Dark Side, the movie. It's got a great fucking VHS cover.
Yeah.
Number 10, a movie I know we have talked about multiple times. We can't get it onto this show. It is Tom Hanks. I think it was directed by
Money
Joe
Pit.
Dante.
Money Pit was last week.
No. I think it was directed by Joe Dante.
Oh,
maybe?
Joe versus the Volcano?
Exactly.
Favorite Tom Hanks movie.
It's a fucking banger. He has a brain cloud. It is very sad.
Yeah, we talk about that on the Dawson's Creek show a lot.
He has a brain cloud and very expensive luggage.
Yeah. Oh, it's a good movie. I miss it.
It really is. So yeah, that's the top 10. I have seen every one of those movies so many times. Yeah, like half of these movies are gigantic fucking movies that made piles and piles of money. And number 1 was Total Recall, which also made fucking giant piles of money.
Yeah. Well, we used to make movies in this country, if you recall.
We did. We really did.
All right, good week. Let's rate this. Let's rate Total Recall on our patented high-tech, low-life rating system, which is a 5-category system: story, influence, prescience, style, and a straight-up 1 to 5 hand raisers rating.
Yes, it is a total of a 45-point system.
45 points up for grabs. I should go through and total up and see what actually. That's a fun idea. I should do that. Total Recall. I think the story is one of its strong points because whether cultural relevance, whatever, like, is this guy awake or asleep or what's the deal? Like all of the pieces fit together. As you rewatch it, you're like, you'll never know. There's no way to know. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. and that, as we've discussed time and time again, is something, I mean, I think we like it. We like the mystery more than,
it's asking the question.
Yeah.
Even though I don't think it's doing as good a job of asking the question as other movies, but it's, yeah.
I'm going to go high. I'm going to go 9.5. You're free to go as low as you'd like. That's just my biased opinion.
I'm going to go, shit. My problems with this movie don't enter this one. So it's, I'm going to go, fuck it. I feel like this is over. I feel like I'm being too kind, but probably 9. Like, I don't know. It's tough to find. You can't really poke that many holes in it in terms of the story.
Also, like, at the time,
pretty well constructed.
Yeah, and at the time, I don't know. It was something special. Influence. I think it's undeniably an influential film. I mean, just for the Arnold Schwarzenegger soundboard alone.
Yeah. Fucking Quato saying "Open your mind."
You ever seen the Rick and Morty Quato episode? That's something.
Yeah. That's something.
That's something. That's a thing.
Something is exactly the way to describe that.
So, I think I got to give it a strong 8.5 for influence.
Yeah, I think that's a very fair number, and also, yeah, I think 8.5 is good. Because I feel like that also takes into account some of the stupid influence on my life and vocabulary.
That's so much on mine. We gave RoboCop an 8 by comparison, and I would argue that Total Recall is just a skosh more influential.
Yeah, it's got. I don't know. There is such value to be had in consider that the divorce.
Yeah,
and screw you.
Screw you, Ben. See you at the party, Richter.
Like, I don't know, that adds such value for as fucking stupid as it is.
Yeah,
It
it's
is
got a lot more
value add.
one-liners than RoboCop. RoboCop has some good ones.
Yeah,
but-
yeah, it certainly does. Bitches leave.
Bitches leave.
Apparently, he was Verhoeven asked him to be Richter, by the way,
Oh, really?
and he said, I don't think I want to just be a villain for the rest of my life."
Fair. He'd
Yeah.
have been a good one too. Although Michael Ironside's a hard guy to top.
Yeah.
Prescience. Unfortunately, more higher than we'd like.
Day by day. Yeah, much like RoboCop.
So the stuff on Earth, not so much. I mean, we do have autonomous vehicles that are starting to become
Sure.
real.
I think colonizing Mars in the way that this movie posits is a bit of a fucking pipe dream. Only realizable by idiotic and insane South Africans, apparently.
Unless there's a giant reactor under the surface. And it's easy mode.
Designed by aliens, yeah.
Stick your fucking hand on that weird 3-finger thing and turn it on.
I mean, and honestly, the whole Cohagen charging for air thing, that was I don't know. The last time I saw this movie was when it first came out on DVD 25 years ago or whatever. Mm-hmm. And at the time, the charging for air thing was like, yeah, man, that's dystopic fucking shit.
Yeah.
And in the year 2025, we're like, well, yeah, obviously they would do that. Why wouldn't they? I mean, it's just accepted as sure.
God damn it. I'm going to give it I'm going to give it an 8.
Yeah, I think 8's a pretty fair way to go.
I hate it, but it's getting an 8. We gave RoboCop a 10, so.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know what we were on that day.
I think we were on a solid 8 years of nonstop police violence.
Yeah, I think you're right. Style. Total Recall's got style coming out every butthole it has. If nothing for just the prosthetics and the mutants and
oh shit, yeah.
Quaid, for his part, the whole time wears a flannel and jeans, so maybe not the most stylish.
He also wears khakis, which he gets punched in the dick a lot.
He does have a turban at one point.
Honestly, here's what I'm going to do for mine. I am going to separate out the mutants and the decompression stuff from style.
Why? I feel like that's part of the movie, isn't it?
I feel like that. I feel like that is such its own thing.
Okay.
That if nothing else, I'm going to slot that in. It's going to get a full extra point on just hand raisers for that shit alone. Other than that, I don't think it's that fucking stylish. I mean, you've got the cool stylish things other than the mutants are the cabs on Mars.
Well, the brutalist architecture.
The brutalist architecture is pretty good. One
thing we didn't point out, that bar, that sleazy sex bar, is so brightly lit. Just thought it was weird.
It really is. We've
seen a lot of cyberpunk bars on this show, and this one stands out.
That was one of my notes watching it. Honestly, when we got to the bar, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a cool fucking cyberpunk bar. It's not.
More like a diner, really.
Yeah, it's like a diner where they serve booze and mutants.
Yeah.
And pussy. Mutant pussy.
Mutant pussy. Do you have a number?
Oh, I'm going to go a 5.5 on style.
Wow, okay.
Nope, 6, sorry.
I going to go 8.
All right.
Hand raisers. This is an easy 5 for me. That's all my bias is going into it. So you can give it whatever you like.
I'm 4.5. I think it's an easy 3.5, and since I'm adding the mutants and decompression onto it, I think 4.5. It's it shouldn't work as well as it does. It's got a fair amount of broken shit to it, like Arnold Schwarzenegger's performance.
Mm-hmm.
But it works in spite of itself to some extent.
Yeah,
I just don't. Yeah.
As for me, like I said, I've probably watched it more than any other movie, and I will probably continue watching it until my deathbed because I can't get enough.
Yeah, I think my problem is that my big problem with it is that I don't feel like the thesis is well formed, I guess.
Fair enough.
And it's got enough entertainment to nearly overcome that.
That's it. Total Recall, another big one off the list.
Yeah.
So next week, I feel like it's not maybe not one of the big ones, but it's a big one.
It's a biggie.
We are doing All Tomorrow's Parties, the final book in William Gibson's Bridge trilogy, and as per usual, we're hoping to have a guest for that one.
Yeah,
for all our Gibson reads.
This arguably could be the last Gibson book we're going to cover.
Really? Is it? It's the last purely cyberpunk one.
And yeah, and I mean, I would love to cover fucking pattern recognition. I don't know if there's quite justification for that.
I mean, it's William Gibson. That's all the justification we really fucking need.
That's kind of where I was coming at my Philip K. Dick rule.
Yeah.
From like half of his shit has nothing to do with fucking cyberpunk other than his name is on it and he wrote fucking Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And I mean, I feel that Gibson's works are important to cyberpunk, even the ones that aren't cyberpunk. But I don't know.
Well, we can have that argument down the road. I do think it might be time for a Gibson break because this is our sixth Gibson book, and we need to, dig a little deeper into.
We got other books to cover. We haven't even covered a second Walter John Williams book, for God's sake.
Yeah, or Neil Stephenson. He's got some that are still on the list, and we've only done one Merid book.
Yeah, that's true.
So,
man, I can make a better argument for Neil Stephenson's Baroque cycle being cyberpunk than I can for pattern recognition.
All right.
1,500 pages set in the 1600s.
Going to stab myself in the dick.
It is a great adventure.
All right. We'll talk about that later. Next week, pattern recognition. Expect a two-parter, people. It's a book episode. We have a guest. It's going to be a two-parter.
And it's a big one for me.
Yeah, Josh is going to cream his jeans.
We like to cream jeans.
Yes, we do.
Have you ever been worked on by three guys who are hot to talk about All Tomorrow's Parties?
Okay, that's better. Patreon, we have one. Patreon.com/hightechlowlife podcast. If you would like to go there, toss a $5 bill. You can listen to us watch some movies. We're overdue for another one. We got to get on that shit. I think we've picked out what we're doing, though, and it is probably not cyberpunk, but maybe.
But I feel like it's going to be a really fun... it's going to be a fun watch.
Yeah, we just need to do it. Blue Sky, check us out on Blue Sky on Mars. At High Tech Low Life Podcast. I am at The Frog, I think, with a 0, and Josh is at... What are you? Count 0 with an X?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Just follow everybody that High Tech Low Life follows, and you will have a much cooler feed instantaneously.
Yes, you will.
Email hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com if you want to answer any of the questions we've posed to you today, including, is Dystopia Talk bumming you out and you wish we'd shut the fuck up?
Yeah. Are we making you dread this podcast? Say something about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we very possibly could choose to ignore you, but we feel that you should be able to express yourself.
Yeah. Other than that, I think it's time for one of Josh's famous sign-off quotes.
This is the plan. Get your ass to Mars and go to the Hilton Hotel and flash the Brubaker ID at the front desk. Just do as I tell you. You can nail the son of a bitch that fucked you and me. I'm counting on you, old buddy. Don't let me down.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
This has been the High Tech Low Life Podcast. Find us on Twitter at Johnny60seconds, email us at hightechlowlifepodcast@gmail.com, and find us on Patreon at patreon.com/hightechlowlife. Theme music by Nihilor at nihilor.com. Thank you for listening.
Keep it moving. Come on, what are you waiting on? Let's go.
They're trashing our rights, man! They're trashing the fluid data! They're trashing! 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 Hide the planet! Hide the planet! Shut up and get in the car!
Beep 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 beep.
Dick alert. Dick alert.